All right, folks, welcome to episode 2, I guess, of the Third Voice podcast. I'm Mr. Johnny Oldschool, and I'm with one of my good friends. Would you like to say your name? Are you going to use a fake internet name, or are you going to use your real name? What are we doing here?
I guess I'll let the audience decide. I'll let the audience decide for themselves. That's
Can I
what I'll
call
do.
you? Can I call you Mr. D?
You can call me Mr. D. You
Mr.
can,
D.
yeah. But no, my name is Sam Donnelly.
There we go.
No one of major importance. I'm just a comic here in Knoxville, Tennessee, in good old America.
You gotta love America.
That's right.
How the fuck did we meet?
Oh God.
Because I have no idea.
This is actually a really good story. I've been like years ago. I've been a fan, of like
A fucking Johnny Oldschool fan.
well, I'm getting there. Yeah, it
Okay, cool.
developed into that.
Excellent. It's good to hear. Doing something right.
I started out with like most people, you start out watching like Angry Video Game Nerd. You see the Power Glove episode, and you're like, oh, that was fucking hilarious. Where can I find more? And then you find Nostalgia Critic, and then you find that guy with the glasses, and then you find this entire network of people bitching about everything.
Yeah, who are just giant wannabes who want to emulate the success of these huge YouTube stars, which is.
Oh, I mean that's just the nature of the beast. That's that's how entertainment works.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that worked. Fucking let's do that. It worked for the Rolling Stones, so there you go. But if it's good enough. If it's good enough for Mick, it's good enough for me.
Gotcha, but right, it is. Hold on a second. Speaking of which,
getting gonzo as fuck up in this piece.
Podcast is not endorsed doing cocaine.
No, I endorse a lot of drugs, but not cocaine.
Yeah, same here. Plenty of drugs, but not cocaine.
But no, I was a fan of all of these review shows and stuff, and it was a cool way for me to kind of get my comedic flair through there somehow. I'd always want to do something in comedy, and being a videographer for now going on a little over a decade, I was always kind of looking for some kind of outlet, and all of that seemed to match exactly what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so I'm just like studying and trying to talk to some of these people, and you find out that a lot of these guys are just like the biggest fucking self-blown up fucking egotistical fucktards, and it's sad. It's so sad.
Yeah, man. I found that even like in my early days, and even when like my site was getting a little more successful, like a lot of the people I talked to in these communities, they were just kind of like, it's just, I don't want to speak like directly negatively of these experiences I had, but like you get the kind of sort who's like they haven't had really any sort of like acceptance, or like they don't have any sort of like, you know, like pride or like ego built up for, you know, like things that, you know, they've really done, and they do just like a little bit, and they just throw all their ego out that little bit. They have like this one video that sucks, or like, you know, like a blog or something like that, or even worse, they're simply just part of a community on a forum, and they post a lot, and they kind of develop this ego about themselves, and it makes interacting with them like really hard, because it's like they pride themselves on like, well, I have an opinion, and I've articulated my opinion many times in all these different ways. And
well, they've created this character. Is what they've done over, and I'm being someone who's participated in many message boards over the years. That's just kind of what happens. You create this mystique about yourself, and you have to maintain it. It's like its own fucking creature that's a pet.
I have so many stories I could tell about.
You have to
Maybe
feed.
We'll get to that later in the podcast.
Oh yeah, but no, I found the agony booth, and I really dug the agony booth over that guy with the glasses, because all the people seemed really easy to talk to and all of that.
Yeah,
and
I love those boothers.
Oh yeah, you were probably one of my favorites. I forget which videos of yours I had seen first, but just little flares of what I've come to call like just gonzo comedy,
right?
Like just little pieces just kind of thrown into there, like your psychedelic experiences and things like that. Just kind of little hints, little nods, and I'm just like, this is a guy I could talk to. I was like, this is a guy that I relate to on a particular level. I really like the way he forms his opinions. Yeah, and he makes everything entertaining, even if it's off the cuff, like your bad combo shit.
Oh Christ!
Personally, I'm a huge fan of that, because that's the whole point of comedy. Comedy is stemmed from tragedy.
For those of you listening, hold on. For those of you listening who don't know what bad combos is, I used to do a show on the internet where I would take two things that tasted fine by themselves, and I would mix them together into something disgusting. For example, like
Magic bullet.
yeah, like wasabi and black licorice, or sushi and whiskey,
Steak and milk.
steak and milk. Oh
That was
God,
my
I forgot.
favorite.
Oh fuck. Oh, the milk steak one. One of my friends paid me $100 to do that. Yeah, straight up. She said, "I'll
Thank
give you
you for whoever
$100."
that was. Thank you so much.
Miss Noricon, if you're listening out there, you beautiful, gorgeous, hot, sexy gem of a person. Yeah, thanks for that. That really helped me out. So I don't know if she's gonna want me saying her name, but I did it anyway, so it's too late. She's seriously so fucking hot though. But yeah, she said she'd give me $100 if I did milk steak. That was based on an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like, you know, you and I just kind of traded interactions randomly here and there, and we added each other on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then there was that time where you kind of hit that rough patch. And yeah, I don't necessarily want to like dig that back up necessarily, but you know, in a nutshell, you know, you put out a video, you asked for help, and like to me, it was really sincere. And it's like, you know what? I've been sitting here watching this guy's videos. He's taken the time to fucking actually talk to me as a Peon fan, and like, I'm gonna help this guy out. So like, that's kind of what ended up happening. And then we just kind of started talking more, and then boom, I guess here we are.
Here we are, yeah. I've never forgotten about that either, Sam. I've never.
Oh, dude,
that, so
it's not a big deal.
It's not. Well, no, it's not. It's not. It's not like I feel like I owe you anything. It's just it was a very kind gesture that came at the exact right moment in my life, and you know, it's good for me to understand how important those things are, and you know, the sorts of people behind them, right? Because I had a lot of people give money to me at that time, and some of the people like I've never even met, I've never talked to. I had one woman give me like $300. And I've never met her or talked to her. I have no idea who she is. I think maybe she was like a friend of my brother's. I really don't know, and I would love to get a chance to meet people like that. But
right.
I people like you saved my fucking ass. You saved my fucking ass.
Well, I mean, it's a response to, you know, what you've done pulling me out of, you know, my bad times, because that's what I used to do. Like whenever I was just down or whatever, I would reach out to those same people that seem to have the same frustrations as me.
Yeah.
And we're able to articulate that in an artistic way.
Right.
And that helped me a lot, and it helped me learn about just life in general, and it helped me learn things artistically, and I've applied all of that to everything that I do. So like that's just kind of my way. That's a response, really. So I mean, we help each other in our own fucking ways.
I like that.
That's the game. So
one of my best friends would say that, you know, like if you do your best to take care of people, and whenever where you're able to, they end up taking care of you in return. And it's in strange ways, you know, and you know, both taking. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm obviously drinking tonight, guys. Fucking Johnny Old School is my shtick, but you know, taking care of people takes on different forms, and being taken care of takes on different forms, and I'm trying to accept maybe a little bit more care than I used to, because you know, the whole pride thing gets in the way, and the whole nobody wants to be seen as a charity case. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the catch-22 of the situation is I love helping people, but I don't like people helping me.
Yeah, man, I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah, you want to look strong. You want to look Roman Reigns strong, you know. So like you gotta. It's like no, I want to help people. I want to, you know, I don't want to look like I need like some kind of handout or something like that, you know. But the truth of the matter is that people fucking need help, and like that's just all there is to it, and you have to reach out in whatever way you can, and you did yours. Here's the thing, here's one of the things that made it really fucking easy for me to help someone like you out. You didn't make like a GoFundMe page, you know, you didn't make a Kickstarter necessarily, you just made a video saying, here's the deal. Here's what I can do.
Like, I'm seriously fucked, and I have, like, my Hail Mary pass. I got nothing left. That was my sincerest emotion. Like, that was,
That's what pulled me in immediately. You didn't, like, I've seen so many people, especially in the field that I'm in, I've seen so many fucking people make GoFundMe pages of just send me money, help me pay for this and that.
Right.
And the thing is I've actually I've helped out plenty of these things as much as I can, and it seems like after you do that, you feel good about yourself, and then the next day there's someone else saying, "Hey, fucking pay for my oil change," or something like that. So it's just like, oh my God.
Really rough time in life, like my car is just, I drive it every single day to my fantastic job and come home to my beautiful wife, but my car is just making some rickety sound these days. I'm getting really worried about it, and I think it needs an oil change, and, I just can't justify, the $36 it's going to cost to, well, now I'm just being an asshole, but.
Oh, well, the thing is like, as you talked about, that's kind of some of these guys, and I don't want to
there are pages like that I've seen. So.
Well, I don't want to take away legitimacy of the ones that really need it, because I know that there are there's comics out there who have had their cars stolen and shit, and or just their cars just completely go to shit on them, and that's literally sometimes that's their house. So I could see them. That's their Hail Mary.
Well, I mean,
they have an audience.
Touring around doing comedy shows, and you need your fucking car to fucking be on stage somewhere. That is your fucking Hail Mary. That's your livelihood.
And not only that, but there's a friend of mine, Carlos Valencia. Yeah. He's one of the funniest fucking guys out there. But he just recently had his car fuck up on him, and he made a GoFundMe or something like that. And but the thing is he actually had things that he would actually do and give back in return, free tickets to his shows and things like that. So there was some sense of reciprocation there. And it felt more like an involvement and an investment rather than a charity. And that's sometimes he'd give you a free shirt or a copy of a CD or just whatever. It just, if you could help out a little bit,
that's what
you just got this shit laying around that needs to go anyway.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to do with my whole thing back then, was I was saying hey, you want to see me eat something disgusting or gross or do something retarded on camera? I did a couple of videos like that. I didn't do as many as that I wanted to. If I'm completely honest with myself, I didn't do as many kind of thank you videos as I had intended to. And that kind of sucks to admit. Life gets in the way. That's just a fucking excuse.
Dude. Well,
there are things
honestly,
that I should have done that I didn't, but.
Honestly, though,
I did a few gross things for people who said.
Oh yeah, but there's so many. When it comes to any kind of entertainment deal, there's so many people out there that you want to thank for supporting you in whatever way, and there's just not enough time in the day sometimes to answer all the mail or whatever. And I'm not saying I'm just saying this is how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for you. It's just there's so many people out there that I want to thank. And on the same flip side of the same token, there's a lot of people I want to tell to fuck off, but I don't have enough time.
Yeah,
and it's just I'd rather just skip it today. And so it works both ways with me. And I always try to thank all of the people en masse. As much as possible. And those people know who they are ultimately. So they get it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, one thing I've always really appreciated about you, Sam, is the fact that you're a very sort of what you see is what you get person. You're a no nonsense person. You'll basically say exactly what's on your mind in a very articulate way. You basically lay everything out there. There's no secrets. There's no hidden agenda. It's basically this is what it is, and you'll simply speak your fucking mind, which is on a bit of an unfortunate rarity in this day and age. And I think that goes hand in hand with being a comedian, where you kind of have this perception of the world where you're just I'm going to say things in a way that everyone else is thinking, but they're not saying. It's that old time comic cliche, right? But you certainly live that. Anytime I've talked with you or interacted with you, I've that's come across. So
here's the funny thing no, thank you for accepting it. Because I don't know. I don't want to say that there aren't that many people out there that will accept it, because I've often found that every time anyone's been vocal negatively about what I do, which it's just fine. I deal with it. However, there's always at least one more other person, sometimes two, to take care of that other person.
Yeah.
That come up to me, strangers even in other states, like complete fucking strangers, and they say, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did with that suicide bit. I can understand that, and
Yeah.
you pulled it out in a really good way, and like that was just really cool, and that kind of hit me on a personal level." And these are people that have the same kind of dark thoughts in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So like it's a way of dealing with it, and
Yeah.
and these people walk away from that show with a new confidence,
Yep.
saying, okay, I'm not crazy for thinking this way. Because, and I try to give that to people because that's the whole reason why I got into comedy, is because like this is going to end up being a bit of a comedy shoot interview in some places. I'm going to say some shit that probably, like, I don't know. I know some people might get upset, but it's whatever. I fucking pop off the mouth enough as it is. They get it. So I mean,
Sam fucking Donnelly, you do what the fuck you want.
Shit, someone gave Sam another fucking microphone.
That's right.
God damn it. But no, the whole reason why I wanted to get into comedy is because I grew up, watching people like George Carlin on Shining Time Station, and then watching him on like Bill and Ted, and then finding the vinyl album Occupation Fool sitting next to my mom's record player, and I read the back at the age of 9, and it says "Cute Little Farts." I think that's a song. And I'm just like, I want to listen to this. And my mom's like, no, we can't listen to that. That's for grown people, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'm going to go to the store. I'll be right back. And I'm like, okay. And she leaves, and I put the fucking record on. And I'm just like, this isn't the music. I don't fucking know what this is. And then I grow older, and I'm in high school, and I'm listening to that stuff again, and it's like really starting to get me to look at things. And I'm like, oh, I'm not fucking crazy.
Yep.
Like, that's not just me.
Yeah. I've often said that. Sorry, go on.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've often said that comedians are modern day prophets. I mean, you think about, the prophets of old, the biblical prophets, or the prophets of the ancient times, where they would stand up in front of multitudes and crowds, and tons of people would gather around to listen to them and, gain these great things from them. And there'd be kind of the establishment, the established religions or organizations who'd be like, you can't say these sorts of things. And,
right.
And I would almost go so far as to say that comedians nowadays have even a freer reign to completely speak their mind in front of multitudes, because if worse comes to worse, you can just be like, hey, I'm a comedian, I was just making jokes.
Right.
You can get up and say some very hard hitting things. And one thing that always bothered me about watching Carlin in his Twilight years. There's one routine in particular when he was talking about credit cards, like the giant scam that credit cards are. Talking about how, like, you bought a pack of gum for 60 cents and now you're paying interest for something you didn't even want, and everyone's like, cheering and clapping and whatnot. I could only imagine the tortured agony that Carlin was going through, looking out across these masses of people who are all cheering and clapping for something that they thought they agreed with and thought they understood, and yet we're going to leave that comedy show that night and drive through Taco Bell and buy a bunch of fucking tacos and a Diet Coke on their fucking credit card.
Oh yeah. And you can kind of, like, if you really look, especially if you look at the span of his entire career, you can see where, I don't want to use the term apathy, but I think exhaustion.
Yeah.
Is the proper word. Just, I've been yelping for fucking years.
Yeah.
These people aren't fucking listening to me.
Yeah.
But what you said, like, earlier about the whole, like, comedians being modern day prophets, I'm about to break your heart. I am. But there's a silver lining to this mushroom cloud. I assure you. And it's not just.
Well, Mercury. I do like mushrooms and clouds, so that doesn't sound too bad.
And it's not Mercury. The silver lining is not Mercury. It's a good silver.
Okay.
But no. So, like, and it all ties up to what I was saying. I grow up listening to Carlin and starting to get that, and then I discover Bill Hicks, and I'm starting to get that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of rediscovering myself and reality all through these voices, and throughout my entire life, I've always been the goofy kid.
Yeah.
And of course, that's how every fucking comedian's story starts. Oh, I was always the funny guy in first grade, and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I really was. I never liked necessarily being in the spotlight. I just liked making people laugh.
Right.
I liked being goofy. And so like these people are actually like making me challenge that thought. And I get the opportunity through a friend of mine who did it and caught the bug. Like, I'm not going to go into the whole story. I just did an open mic and I caught the bug.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And I was living in Ohio at the time, which was like, I'd say about 40 miles from any decent like place with any proper scene.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't really do a whole lot while I was there, so I had to work on like video stuff. That's kind of when I was starting to watch all of that. And I'm studying comedy scenes because my now wife, then girlfriend, moved to Ohio to live with me, and we were trying to figure out where we were going to go. And we decided we wanted to come back home to Tennessee, but we were just deciding between Nashville and Knoxville. Knoxville seemed to have the better comedy scene.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this place from 400 miles away, and I'm just like, man, it's vibrant, and like there's life there.
Yeah.
This is the last bastion of truth. Like, this is comedy. And I get here, and of course, like, at start, I'm getting those butterfly high school crush type feelings at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes away after you just like anywhere else, you spend enough time there, you get to see everything for what it really is.
Yeah.
And it's the same as everything else. Like,
it's different between taking a vacation to Hawaii and then moving there.
Yeah, there's like exactly. It's the same thing as everything else. It's a business, I mean, and that's just, I'm not saying that as a bad thing necessarily, because
that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, that's the reality of the situation. Yeah. So like when you run a business, you have to make decisions like a business.
Yep.
And that gets in the way of the possibility of growth in certain things.
Yeah.
And that's always been my problem with it. And I came into it thinking that it was going to be not that,
Yeah.
And it's just, like, this scene had a really bad deal with the local comedy club. And I mean that, like, there was a comedy club, and then there was kind of like its own independent group of comics that did bar shows and shit like that. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And we'll still do. But there was always beef between us and them, and no one ever wanted to talk about it. Like, that. Right. That's one of the things, is like a lot of the negative things, a lot of the stuff that could, in a business mind frame, push people away.
Yeah.
It's swept under the rug, and that's great if it's a business, but you're messing with art. Yeah. And when you mess with art, people get really, really personal about that shit.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's a fine line, and I haven't figured it out. I've only been in it a couple of years. I'm still just a baby with all of this shit, but I'm learning so much every day, and I've already had opportunities to go, all the way to places like fucking Boise, Idaho.
Oh, and that's like, where my great grandmother used to live. God rest
her
soul.
You were telling me that. Yeah.
Boise. Potato country.
By the way, I fucking love Boise. It's a great fucking town. They love the shit out of comedy there. But and they're growing exponentially too. But yeah, I mean, I've had lots of opportunities handed to me, and I feel that I've gotten these opportunities solely on my ability, not on my. And when I say ability, I mean like my comic ability, not my ability to kiss ass. Not my ability to follow every rule as strictly as possible. I try to live on my terms, being me. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. I have to take this real quick. This is an emergency.
Right. I'll go take a piss.
Sam's on a phone call right now. What he doesn't know is that I've secretly hacked into his webcam, and I can watch him slowly undressing. I don't know who he's talking to. Frankly, I don't want to know. But I just gotta tell you guys, it's fucking hot. This guy is the hairiest ass I've ever seen. It's like a jungle. Like a naughty jungle of love. He just put on a strap-on that's covered in studs.
Yeah, going to work at 1.
Chrome studs. It's made of unpainted leather. Like, you know that leather where it's just like raw cowhide? It's not even black. It's just raw leather. As if whoever made it didn't even have the time to paint it before they wanted to put it on and use it. He's straight up covering a Barbie doll in Astroglide right now. That's the farthest I've ever seen anyone stick a doll in their ass.
I am extremely sorry about that.
No worries.
That was the guy that I hit, so we had to talk money.
Oh, okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, that would actually provide a fantastic segue into the next part of the podcast, which is what I originally wanted to maybe start off with.
Yeah.
This story of you getting in a car accident with somebody.
Yeah. First of all, I this story has to be kind of prefaced with something because I really want to get into the thick of this, like
I'd love
on a moral level.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a bit of an expose on myself and my personal life as well. So I hope my wife's okay with that.
We love you, Haley.
Okay, cool. Shouts out to Haley. That's the wife. But yeah,
what a respectable gentleman to be consulting his beloved
on the air.
Discussions. Yeah, on the air. That's simple things like that, Sam. Simple things like that, which speak miles about your character to me. I'm good to hear. So, yeah.
All right. Just recently, my wife and I decided to experiment with a polyamorous lifestyle.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing about that is it has opened up our communication with each other so much more, and it has made us more intimate with each other. It's really brought our connection, like together so much more.
Yeah,
and we had help with this from this awesome fucking couple that they're in a band, and they're in a band that I actually like. Like I fucking hate local music. Like there's a reason that most local music is local.
Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing with local comedy.
Yeah.
Same thing with local comedy. There's a reason a lot of that shit is local.
Yep.
So so I get turned off by local music a lot, and these guys I really, really dig. And I guess people that know me are going to figure this out on their own just by logical deduction.
Right.
But I'm not going to name names. But it is part of the story, and I'm not going to incriminate anybody. It's just important to understand the whole journey, mentally and emotionally. But anyway, they were kind of helping us out, and they had expressed to us both that they had some kind of attraction to us. So we responded kind of the same, And after we left, after that day, after we talked about it, and we're just like, was that a thing?
is that a thing that happens? Is that,
is this something you want to actually do?
Yeah.
Like, and she was like, yeah, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
So we all discussed it, and we all agreed, that it was at least good enough to look into.
Yeah.
Now to be fair, we were all excited. We all got kind of like I said earlier, a bit high school girly with it.
Yeah.
Just that crush feeling.
Yeah.
And everything was great. She would challenge me. She would challenge my negative perspective a lot, and she would always focus a lot on my negativity, and she would always challenge it, and I always had an answer. And it wasn't always an answer that she would necessarily accept, but the fact that there's another human being other than my wife and other than a really, really close friend of mine, and they have to be really, really close. This is another human being who is actually able to touch me on this level and make me question my own beliefs about things. And I'm like, okay, I'm digging this. This is a nice connection that we're making. And sure, there was physical attraction, obviously, but I need more than that.
Yep.
I'm almost 30. I need more than that. So And I've needed more than that since around the time that Haley and I started seeing each other. So I mean, and that's why we've worked so well together, is because we've known each other for like nearly 10 years.
Oh wow!
Nearly.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, she was actually dating one of my friends, and I was dating one of her friends at the time. It was one of those situations. Yeah. But no, everything was going okay, and she would challenge me and things like that, and she would always like, you know, she doesn't like the fact that I smoke cigarettes. I don't think she minded the marijuana so much. Oh yeah, me too. Like cigarettes, I'm fine on quitting because it's to the point where I don't really want them anymore, but I can't help it now.
Right.
And I've tried vaping. I know you're a vapor.
Yeah.
I actually have a just real quick. I have a funny joke that I like to open up with, where I say shout outs to Snickers for helping me quit Reese's, because that's what you fucking vapors sound like.
Hey, I'm not gonna argue with that.
Oh right, no, and I've got a lot of vapor friends. I mean, it's just a funny joke, but I don't give vapors too much shit. I really don't. I get it, but no, I've tried a lot of different things to get off of it. I'd love to quit cigarettes. It's gonna be hard to take the screen out of my hand though. Like, I mean, I just packed another bowl like as we speak, so it's gonna be really hard to take that out of my hands. But you know, she would always want me to quit smoking. It's like right on, one thing at a time, and she's, you know, talked about going to the gym, and it's like, yeah, I've thought about like, you know, doing healthy stuff, and she's really like pushing that, and I'm, you know, it's not a punk out situation. It's not that. It's not a pride thing. It's just, you know, the acceptance of knowing that everything that she's saying is right.
Yeah,
you know, it
sucks sometimes, dude. Does
that's
fucking suck when you have somebody kind of like start like spitting in your face like actual truths where you're like,
oh yeah,
and they do it in a way where you're like, shit, fuck,
oh, yeah,
fucking right, fuck, god damn it.
But in this case,
examine this now.
Well, see, in this case, like, because I mean, for the most part, I never have a problem with admitting my wrongs or admitting that someone else is right. I never have a problem with that. But in this instance, it makes me look like the alpha male, like I'm trying too hard. You know, it's like, oh, you want to go to the gym? Well, I'm just going to fucking lift 200 pounds, bro. You know, like, I know there's a lot of bras out there that are laughing their ass off. 200 ain't nothing. But fuck them. But I'm doing like 50 right now, so suck my dick. Fucking... But fucking, you know, she'd talk about going to the gym and stuff like that. So like, you know, I'm like, right on. And I'm out on the road for about a week and a half. And like I drove probably nearly 5,000 miles in this entire week. And I get home, I'm exhausted. I'm wanting to see everybody. I'm wanting to see Haley. I'm wanting to see them.
Yeah.
And fucking, I go over to their house, and they pretty much like just make me sign up for a gym membership right then. And they're like, we're going tonight. I'm like, I haven't even been back home for 24 hours. I've slept maybe 5. That sounds like a terrible idea. Yeah. And they just keep pushing it. So I'm like, I don't even have shoes. I don't own tennis shoes. Like, I have a pair of steel-toed boots, and I have a pair of loafers.
Yeah.
And like, this is Planet Fitness, and they're like super judgmental about not judging. So like, you know, no boots, no hats,
right? No
confidence,
right?
Just fucking come in and do your shit and shut up and watch Fox News. God damn it! But
America.
But so I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, if this is gonna make you happy, you know, fuck it. I'm doing it. I'm gonna look like a complete tool. I don't even have shorts. I don't have anything that I need to wear to work out properly. But like fuck it.
Doc Martens and like an old wife beater with a barbecue sauce stain on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's my uncle's because it was a hand-me-down.
Yeah.
So like,
sauce is 72 years old.
It's aged barbecue sauce. You know, if you run water over it and put it over your burger.
Oh, God.
But yeah, like I just said fuck it, and we all 4 went. And like, here's the thing: I have extreme anxiety about going to the gym. Like, I was picked on a lot as a kid. Like, there's a reason why I'm the cynical asshole that I am, and it's because the world fucked me.
Yeah.
So like,
right, that's usually
yeah,
when turns into a cynical asshole.
Right. So it's just like I've never had any really good experiences in gyms at all.
Right.
I still feel the bruises on my shoulder of being like slammed into lockers and shit and getting thrown into trash cans. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good on that. I've gotten into so many fights. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So like I'm making all of these compromises here that just aren't being acknowledged at all.
Yeah.
And I'm taking it like a man, you know. I'm just like, fuck it, you know. We're just gonna do it. And I walk out of the locker room. I'm wearing dude shorts. They're not even my shorts. And I'm wearing the shirt that they fucking gave me. It has a big PF on it.
Yeah.
And I just look like a goober, like just straight up goober mode Sam Donnelly. I'm looking in a future mirror in 10 to 13 years. And it's just terrifying. And we all get on treadmills, and it's not fucking 5 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Not 5 minutes. She's on the treadmill next to me. Her dude's next to her. Haley's on the very end. And they start talking about fucking with me while I'm running on the treadmill. And I look right in their eyes, and I'm like, I will walk out. Like, don't fuck with me here. I know you like fucking with me all the other times. Not here.
Yeah.
Just that's all I'm asking. And I didn't even have time. I just had time to say I will walk out, and she starts fucking with my treadmill. So I'm a man of my word. So I walk the fuck out.
Yep.
And that made me the asshole, I guess. So
I honestly, I couldn't. I mean, if I already said to somebody, if I looked them in the eyes and be like, "Don't fucking fuck with you on this shit," and they did it, I'd be like, "All right, well, you know, here's my boundary. You know, you're testing my boundaries. Now you get my boundaries. So we'll have a discussion a little bit afterwards after this, and be like, all right, so now we know each other's boundaries. So where are we gonna go from here?"
Right, I had to walk away because, like, I know she doesn't like my angry side.
Mm.
Like, I know this, and I'm not one to express it in front of her, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold it back, so that's why I'm like, no, I'm going to walk away because I really need to, like, think about this. So I'm sitting in the locker room in the corner. Like, I don't want to be there. No, I don't want to be seen. And she sends me a text saying, "Sorry, I pissed you off." And I was like, it's not, you didn't piss me off. You just, for lack of better phrases, you know, you hit a trigger, you know, you just kind of hit that thing in my past, and I told you not to do it, and you did it anyway.
Yeah.
And that, you know, you fucked with me. And she's like, "Well, that's not what I meant." I'm like, it doesn't matter what you meant. It matters that you just, you went beyond that anyway. You know, maybe you did. I was like, maybe you didn't get fucking picked on in school or whatever, in gyms or locker rooms. And her response was, "You know absolutely zero about me." And I was like, so I guess we're here then.
Well, I say that she kind of didn't really know much about
it's like,
you.
Whoa.
Same time, so.
Right, and that's kind of the whole point. Like, you know, we're all trying to get to know each other here, and I at least let you know that boundary. And, you know, this is all about communication.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like this whole poly experiment is about communication to me. And that was kind of, that was just kind of a shot out of nowhere. And it didn't make any sense. So, like, you know, I cooled off. I tried talking to her about it. She wouldn't talk to me. So the whole gym experience is just awkward now. We're all riding in the same car together.
Yeah.
So that makes it even more awkward. While we're in the car riding back after the whole deal's over, I text her because she likes texting more than in-person conversations.
I can understand that too.
I can sympathize with that too. I'm a total child of the internet, so I mean, I can totally. You can collect your thoughts so much better, and I get that. But you know, there's nothing beats a face-to-face.
Yeah,
you get the full range of emotion there.
Well, there's so many
all the context
communications that we exchange between one another through vocal intonation, through body language, through all these subtleties. I'd go so far as to say that if you're very close to somebody, you can basically sit in the same room as them and not speak a single word, and actually be able to communicate and interact with them fully.
Oh, that's me and the wife, totally. Yeah. Like, we have our own language. And that's the thing about, like, a lot of married couples or just people who know each other for that long, is they have that own language,
Yeah.
that syntax,
Yep.
so to speak. So they know what to expect. But and I'm trying to learn that in this situation. So I'm just like, can we seriously talk about this before tonight's over with? Because like, this is just kind of up in the air, and I don't know what anyone's really feeling right now.
Yeah.
And she was like, sure. And first of all, I love the response, sure. Like, sure, I guess. Fuck, sure. So it's just like, all right, well, I mean, it's still a positive answer, so right on.
Yeah.
And we get to their house. Our car's there, and we're just kind of all sitting there for a little bit. No one's really talking to each other, and they kind of get up and say, "Well, we're going to bed." And it's like, I thought we were gonna talk. Can we talk? And she's just like, I don't think it's a good idea right now. And I'm just like, okay, bye. So like we left, and next day we woke up to a group text sent to me and Haley, saying that what they really need right now is friends without agendas. And that kind of threw us for a loop, because we were just like, agenda? We didn't initiate anything. Like,
what agenda could there be?
Like, you guys wanted us to come over to talk about our entry into the whole polyamory lifestyle, and then it turned into like a half dating thing. And it did that because you guys started that.
Right.
We played along because it was comfortable. And she was like, well, I wasn't comfortable during any of it. And I'm just like, you didn't make that known. Like, at all. Like, you didn't say that when we were, like, snuggling, watching movies and shit. And you didn't say that when you were texting me that you missed me while I was in Idaho and things like that. So it's just like, I didn't get that.
New reasons of why I enjoy living alone. That's not even funny.
Right. Yeah. And that's the funny thing is, like, a lot of people think, oh, you just want more pussy or whatever. It's like, no, in fact, it's a lot of fucking work, man. Like, I got to remember 3 birthdays.
Yeah, man.
Like, fuck. Like, really think about that. That's layered. Like, I have to keep up with that many people now, like, on that level. So, like, it's
difficult. I fall asleep in my bed. The worst thing I have to worry about is my cat biting my foot in my sleep, but she does from time to time. It's very irritating, but
Dude, appreciate that simplicity, sir.
I definitely do.
Drink it in, man, because like it's nice, but like with this, it's just there was no real communication there. Like, she was uncomfortable and she never communicated that. So like after a bunch of like talking and then not talking and talking and not talking, we finally just said, okay, there's a lot riding on this. We've already opened up this much. Can we just like start over and like just like cultivate this friendship thing and like just see where it goes naturally? And they said, yeah, but like it wasn't the same. There used to be, she used to lift me up. Like, she used to encourage me, and she used to like give me pats on the back, for lack of better phrases. Yeah. And there was none of that anymore. It was all nitpicking and berating and stuff like that, sometimes publicly. And
that says a lot to me right there. And I don't know if it's my place to say what I see in that, so I'll just listen to you talk.
It's your show, man. I mean, you have a right to your opinion on this just by hearing this.
Just from excuse me. Sorry, listeners, who I'm hacking up a goddamn lung. I don't even fucking smoke anymore. When I hear something like that, it says to me that from the beginning there are certain expectations placed on what would happen.
Right.
And it wasn't an organic situation, and when those expectations weren't met, things changed.
Oh yes.
And
oh yes.
Yeah. So
that's exactly what happened. Yep.
And I'm not faulting anyone involved. I'm not faulting the people you were involved with. I'm not faulting you guys.
Oh no.
I mean, this is human interactions are complicated. People are complicated. There's a lot of very different layers to people. And I wouldn't say that any of it is bad or negative necessarily, unless you decide that it's going to be. I think that every experience and interaction we have, you can take things from it. You can use things to grow. You can take positivity from it, even if it's in like really difficult way to see as being positive, but it's all about the experience, right? It's all feeling new emotions and having new experiences. So
Absolutely, and we all agreed on that. We all agreed that expectations were set too high.
yeah,
So we just wanted to remove that, because I was just like, we all have a lot invested in this in a way already. So like, it would be a damn shame just to throw all of that out. So like, how about we just kind of reboot this and just let the shit work organically, and we actually just give everything its own natural fair shot.
yeah,
And they seemed to be on the same page.
yeah.
But then again, I found myself saying that a lot in the early stages of this, and we weren't. So
Right.
like, I'm now in this position where I'm like, well, are we really on the same page?
Yeah.
So I just have to trust it. And there were a lot of interactions that even throughout the berating and such, and throughout some of the certain words said, there would be certain things that would happen, like sometimes within the same hour, where it's like, okay, we've set the boundaries, we're just trying to be friends right now, and all of a sudden her foot is rubbing my leg under the table.
Fucking women. God damn it, women.
And she stole, and before that, she stole my hat. Okay,
Unbelievable.
now these are two signs,
Yep.
universally known
Goddamn
by
right
all men,
Yes, they are.
that
Yes.
say, I want your dick.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I'm not saying that any woman wants my dick. I'm saying those are universal
Yes.
signs.
That ladies, if you don't understand this, that is how it works. If you honestly don't realize that is what you are communicating, and frankly, I don't believe that you don't realize it for a fucking second.
No.
But
No.
let's just say on the off chance you don't, that's what's going on in the mind of a guy when you're doing.
Because here's the thing: when you steal a dude's hat, a dude wears a hat for a variety of different reasons. Sometimes it's an image thing, sometimes it's a security thing. It's always its own personal thing, though. So when you take that hat, you now create this tension, and it's like, this other living thing is trying to alter me, and they're trying with my head. Like you kind of get that vibe a little bit.
I can think of an experience I had back when I was younger. I was maybe like 19 or 20 years old, and hold on, I'm gonna unplug my mini fridge here because it's buzzing and I gotta set this thing on a timer so it doesn't go off during podcasts and videos. But I can remember experience when I was maybe 19 or 20. I was back in my hometown, and I went to the PNE, the kind of Vancouver fucking festival carnival thing that they put on during the summer, where it basically just rains for 2.5 weeks and everybody's miserable trying to ride roller coasters. But I went to the PNE with a couple of work friends and whatnot, and there was just like some random chick there who was like amongst the group, and we kind of hit it off, and a little bit of like flirty talk here and there. But at one point in the afternoon liaison, she like grabs. I was wearing this kind of like stoner like bucket hat. She grabs it off my head and like puts it on her. And I'm like, huh, all right. And like I was too like insecure and like stupid at the time to recognize what a sign that was. And I'd be like, well, technically I could be taking you home tonight and banging you furiously, but I'm too stupid and insecure to recognize that sign. I think I asked one of the friends like for her number afterwards. Nothing really went there anyways with it, but I wasn't like super attracted to her or anything. But she was kind of cute. But we had a fun afternoon together. But yeah, you're quite right when you say that action of taking somebody's hat off their head and wearing it. It's like, hey, pay attention to me.
Right.
I'm altering you. I want you to
It is definitely an attention thing. Because it's all the focus now. There's a quest.
Yeah, there's a quest,
and,
exactly.
And that quest, I gotta get my hat back.
That's sort of flirtatious behavior. I don't mind it at all. So.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And in my eyes, like, I'm always really bad at reading signs from women. Like, I'm really good at it when it comes to reading those signs from outside of the box. Like, if I'm watching that shit like I'm Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
Like, then I can pick it up.
Friends interact with each other.
Right.
But then, look at that naughty little Sheila right there, stealing his hat right off his head.
Exactly. So, like, when I see that, I get it. But when it happens to me, I'm just like, wait, what? Like, have you seen my face? Like, are you? There's so many other dudes in here
Yeah.
that look so much better than me. They have so much more to offer. Just on the
I'll tell you
fucking.
something that a friend of mine, a very, very close friend who I love very deeply, told me very recently about the interactions between men and women. She said that women will fall in love with the guy for things completely outside of their looks,
Oh yeah.
and that's 100% true.
Oh yeah. And I
She
see
went
that
into
now.
more detail of it too. I don't have like the conversation pulled up for me to read you her exact text, but that was basically the gist of it. That a woman will fall for a guy for reasons that his looks have very little to do with.
Right. Those reasons kind of show through
Yeah.
through the appearance in a
Yeah.
way. Like I mean, I guess like a cartoon character in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could totally see that. I see that now after being, with Haley for so long.
Yeah.
And I see that now. And now I'm able to pick up on signs. So like when you fuck with the dude's hat, and there's so many times where I've seen this happen like out in the wild where it always ends up in like a fucking makeout session, like
Yeah.
that's just what happens.
Story of my life,
like,
man. Every fucking night, I can't escape those makeout sessions. It's terrible,
dude. Especially on Fridays, man. You
you
gotta
get
get
down on Friday. Yeah.
I hope I got that in before you did. I'm not sure, but I wanted to take that from you so fucking bad, week after week on Facebook.
We will see when the podcast is edited up. We will see who got it in first. So I'll put up a little counter here. I'll put up a little score. So I'm just editing the podcast here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that last little section between me and Sam where we're both saying you got to get down on Friday, and I'm going to slow it down as much as possible, and we're going to see who actually said it first. Ready? Here goes. As you can all hear, technically speaking, Sam said it like a split second before me, you fucking asshole. Fuck. He fucking beat me. Fuck off. Alright, back to the fucking podcast.
Fucking lag.
But
Hacks.
it's true though, you do have to get down on Friday.
You do.
I think I've established that for every single person in my life this is the norm. If you associate with me in any sense of the term, Friday you must get down.
Yep.
Anyway.
But yeah, I guess getting to the car crash,
Right.
because the whole idea here, the whole point is I feel like I'm being punished in a weird way for my quote unquote negative perspective, and she's not understanding why I really need that and why I rely on it, and that all has to do with my first psychedelic experience, which I can go into later, I guess.
Oh, that sounds like a podcast in itself. Let's do that sometime. Yeah,
absolutely. But I'm just she's not listening to me. I feel that she's not like giving me a proper chance to really hear my story as to why that's important to me. So like one thing that she said was just like all negativity does is just put negative things out into the world, and I'm just kind of thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, but I've taken so many good things from so much terrible shit. So it's like, was it really bad?
Yeah.
Like it's all a perspective ordeal. What's negative to one person is positive to another. And let's fast forward a little bit at dealing with this whole, other relationship situation. It's really making me, question myself and try to be more aware and try to hold myself in check. So fast forward to an open mic night. I got a little drunker than I should have. I drank my limit. I'm not a drinker, really. I'm not much of a drinker.
Right.
I'm way more of a toker.
Yeah.
I'm just, alcohol's not my drug of choice. It's just sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. But I know my limits with it. So like, especially when I'm performing, And I drank my limit this night, but a fucking random audience member actually bought me a drink, and
Nice.
that never happens.
Right.
Like I really had a good set that night, and I was really happy. I was really proud of myself. I brought the room back when it was kind of dying a little bit. It was getting a little rowdy, and I felt really good. So like, dude gives me another drink, and I'm like, right on. I'm drunk now. Like, okay,
Yep,
fair enough.
Been there once or twice.
So like 3 times a lady. Sorry, that's my Lionel's disease kicking in.
We all
It's
have that, man. We all have that.
yeah, it's an offshoot of Tourette's. Just a little education out there because there's so much awareness about breast cancer because no one knows what that is.
I've never heard about that before, but
Thank you, Susan. But fucking Lionel's disease is an offshoot of Tourette's syndrome, and basically, if there's like discussion, talking going on around me,
yeah.
And whatever somebody's saying starts weaving into the lyrics of a Commodore song, I have to finish the song. It's completely uncontrollable. It's uncurable, but it's non-fatal.
I have something similar to that, but it involves the old Sugar Crisp jingle. You know, can't get enough of that Sugar Crisp. I have this weird thing that's it's gone on my life for at least 10 years now. But it's like I have this strange mental filter where every single sentence I hear is basically it's either was that 3 syllables long or was it not 3 syllables long? And if it was 3 syllables, it's like let's say somebody's like at work is like hey, we need some fish and chips. I'm like, can't get enough of fish and chips. Like it's like all the time. It's completely uncontrollable. But the thing is, like, it's I do it so much that I don't realize I do it, and then it starts catching on with people to the point where like the chef that I'm working under right now, I worked with him at my previous restaurant like a year ago, and I was doing this so much that like he was doing his own version of it. Except since he's older than me, he didn't know it as Sugar Crisp. He knew it as Sugar Smacks. So I'd hear him like wandering around, being like, "Can't get enough of those Sugar Smacks." And I'm like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "What have I done?"
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love when shit like that just spreads virally like that. Oh, it's beautiful.
It is.
But on this particular night, I was nice and saucy, and the mic was over. And I guess there were people wanting to come over to my house. Every once in a while, I'll kind of do like not really an after party thing, but you know, people will come over and like, we'll just hang out and get high or whatever. Yeah. And sometimes people will crash, sometimes they won't. It's always a random adventure at Gonzo House. But yeah, it was. I guess people were wanting to come over, and Haley's trying to get me to like hurry up and wrap things up so we can go home. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of wanting to hang out for a little bit because I'm a little drunker than I want to be, and I don't really feel like driving right now. And she's like, yeah, okay, well that's fine, but we kind of need to hurry. I was like, all right. So I kind of feel pressured, to leave. So like, shortly after that, we're heading out. I'm like driving home, feeling good. Yeah. Feeling good about myself for once in this long journey that I've just kind of laid out to everybody right now. Yeah. I'm for the first time in a while, I'm actually feeling properly good about myself. So like, I'm blasting Tool, fucking Rosetta Stoned, and I'm just like really fucking getting into it, driving drunk, high, like
Drive, I would like to state that.
Do you offered to drive?
I did.
Oh, well, see, I don't remember that. So, fair enough. Thanks for making me more of a fuck up on the air, honey.
Thanks for making it more of a fuck up.
Jesus. So anyway, I'm a total prick.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, and like I said, I shouldn't have been behind the wheel. Period. But yeah, I was feeling good. Kind of not caring about anything around me, just it was all about me. And we get to the pilot because we had to stop to get some shit, and I'm trying to get out of there, but like people there, they like it's the regular one that I go to, so they all want to talk to me. Right. And Haley starts calling me on my phone, and she's still in the car, so I'm just like, fuck, I gotta go home. And like I jump into I jump into the car and just like, you know, I'm like in a hurry and I just like hit reverse and I just slam right into somebody's fucking car.
And then you let your Alpine play, and you were pumping new shit by NWA. It was Gangster at the top of the list, and you played some new shit and went something like this.
Dude, it was nothing like that. It was nothing like that. It was more, oh fuck! Like that's pretty much the only thing that was going through my head.
So,
because, well, like I'm driving my dead dad's car.
Yeah.
It's not in my name yet. The tags look expired, but they're not. He just didn't put the sticker on it, and that was like last month that he was alive, and he drank himself to death, so he was probably drunk throughout that entire month. And that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Not wanting to bring it down or anything.
Yeah,
but
no, just that's an interesting little insight into your mind.
Yeah, yeah. But I couldn't find the sticker anywhere, so like the tags look expired. I've got the registration that proves that they're not, but there's a lot that still needs to be done with this car legally that I just haven't gotten around to.
Yeah.
And now I've gotten into an accident with a complete stranger, and I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked. And holy fuck, I'm sober now. Well, that was easy.
Yeah. Things like that happen to sober you up right quick.
Oh yeah. So like, I just get out of the car and I just start apologizing profusely, and he's heated at first. I mean, rightfully so. We pulled into the parking lot. We looked at it. He took pictures. All this and that. He's really trying to work it out to where we don't have to bring insurance or cops into this.
Yeah.
He's not wanting to really have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm right there with you, man. Like,
yeah.
I was like, dude,
it sounds good, buddy.
I was like, I can pay for the repairs of your bumper, because that's all it was. It was like my left rear corner and his front right corner, and it's his girlfriend's car.
Unfortunate, mild, kind of fender crunches or fender benders.
Yeah, that's real. Right, that's
fender crunches in Canada, apparently.
Oh, nice. That's an interesting little tidbit. Fender
crunch. I just made that up right now. But I'm gonna make it a new thing. So
that almost sounds like a chip, like a fender crunch.
We just got a little bit of a fender crunch, eh? It's not nothing to worry about too much.
Waffle shaped potato crisps with a slight hint of maple syrup. Fender crunches.
Well, a little bit of glaze there. You maybe put a little bit of chili powder in there too to spice things up a bit, and you got yourself a meal right there. It warms you up for winter time.
Yes, I'm going to make millions. Crunches.
I'm not.
Dude, Americans will believe anything. Don't you know this?
Yeah, I definitely.
They will believe anything.
As a Canadian, I definitely do. Canadians really we're not that much different. We just far less of the world gives any sort of fuck about what we do, because there's not enough of us to do anything. So, but I have full confidence that if there was 300 million Canadians, we would be doing all sorts of terrible things. So. We might be a little bit more polite about it, but probably not by much.
It's a perspective thing as well, because sometimes people are being more than polite, but like the other person could just be like thinking that they're just being rude just because of their culture or whatever.
This is true.
Yeah, but that's its own thing.
That'll be podcast number 4.
Yeah, right. We're this is nice. We're like planning all of these podcasts.
Exactly.
Back to the fender crunch.
Yeah.
Keeping things, properly international.
That's
fender
right.
crunch.
Yeah.
He's got cop friends.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to worry. I'm just like, oh fuck, this is gonna be a Clockwork Orange situation. Oh no!
Yeah,
like
strapped in the chair, eye drops.
They're gonna beat me with tongs and like drown me in a fountain and all this shit. Like, oh, I'm gonna throw myself out the fucking second story window. And like all this shit, and I'm just like shitting my pants now. And he's like talking to his cop friend. He's like, "Yeah, man, I got into a little fender bender, and fucking, he's not Canadian."
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to preface that he doesn't know the context of this podcast. So I'm this is a script.
Okay.
So yeah, he says fender bender. I apologize for the Americans.
That's all right. It's all right. We forgive you. In fact, we're sorry for making you feel uncomfortable.
You don't make me feel. I love Canada. Like I mean that. I really do. I fucking love Canada. I was only in just the tip, but man, that it felt so good. I just knew I had to be further in. Like I just knew it.
That's how it works. How it works.
But you know, he's talking to this cop, and he's like, "Yeah, we're trying to get around this. Is there someone that isn't a douche that you can come up here and kind of run things through?" And I guess his friend was just like, "Oh, you know, is he still there? Like, you know, how is he?" And he's like, "Oh no, he's a cool guy." And like the way he said "cool guy," it was like because at that point we had already established that like we knew like some of the same people through comedy connections because he works at bars and we've performed at some of the bars that he's worked in. So we kind of clicked on that level. So that's why we were just like, maybe we can just take care of this some other way.
Yeah, you have that initial connection where you're not just some random douchebag stranger, so you can make up any sort of story about this person in your head where this person,
Right.
you know how people get road rage when they're driving. It's like, oh, this person cut me off. Oh, look at that fucking ass. Well, in reality, it's probably just like some single mother who's just driving to work and simply just didn't look because of whatever else was going on in her life, and nobody was injured or harmed, and there was really no harm done. But you get all angry and shit because this person cut you off, and
Fucking bitch cut me off. I bet she fucking fries up chicken and shoves it up her pussy.
well,
Like you just create all of these scenarios in your head, you know.
Friday.
You you write all these stories about people. I love writing stories about strangers.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, real quick, I want to interject because just you reminded me of this.
All right.
Just real quick, I want to throw this in there. Me and my friend, we were just talking about this yesterday. I was riding in his car, and we were talking about how we like to make stories up about strangers and shit.
Yeah.
And we saw this dude get in a turning lane to turn into a school because it was like school was about to get let out and there were people lining up to pick up the kids, and then he just kind of got right back in the lane and just kept going, and we're just like, well, what was that about? Did he just say fuck the kid? Like, you're walking home today, Billy. Like, and like this person followed us like all the way into downtown.
Wow.
And this is like a good 10 miles away.
Yeah.
And we're just like, he really said fuck that kid. Like, either that, because I mean, it was obvious it was a school entrance that he was turning into. So like, we're now creating all of these crazy scenarios where he's like, nah, he just left his wife and said fuck everything. I'm going to the airport, man. I'm fucking going to Cuba. And like, we were just
that is some straight up Kurt Vonnegut shit right there.
Right. We were just like going all crazy with it. And then we passed by a dead raccoon with the Natty Light can next to it, and there was a balloon tied to it that said "Get well soon," and then we forgot all about dude. So yeah, there's that story.
How dare you? How dare
that fucking happened? That was weird. A fucking "Get well soon" balloon tied to a dead rat. First of all, who fucking tied that?
Wait,
somebody had to tie that. Somebody had to touch that.
No,
No, I'm not fucking with you, dude. I will send you the picture.
I would love to see that picture.
I will send you the fucking picture.
I don't think I trust you enough, Sam. Tell me a story and have me question it, and have you tell me that it was true for me to not question it anymore unless I see the picture. I got
everything, man. Nah, but I will show you the picture of this.
I would love to see. I would love to see. That is
but
so
yeah,
wrong.
Back to the Fender Crunch.
Fender Crunch, thank you.
He was talking to the cops, and the cop, like he said, "Cool guy" in that funny way, and that was his way of telling the cop, no, you know, he's you know, he parties or whatever, but you know, he's not looking for trouble. He's not, you know, just leave him alone.
Miscreant douchebag who
just
can't reason with.
Just leave him alone because you might bust him on some stupid shit, you know, kind of thing. So I felt more comfortable after he said that, and that was nice. But the cop basically said, no, dude, if he's telling you he's going to help you out, and if you think you can trust it, then just go ahead and settle it like that, man. So, like, he even got the word from a fucking officer of the goddamn law.
Yeah.
To say, fuck insurance. Yeah. Fuck actual law. Deal with it like fucking men. And you know what? I think that's how a lot of problems should be dealt with. Why the fuck do we have to be like, oh, crunch the car, we got to call the insurance people now.
Yep.
And let's just stand here looking like doofuses on the phone.
Yep. I'll give you the first example that comes to my mind was when I was working at Costco one day, and I was, I used to work at warehouses when I was younger, And I was outside helping somebody load something into their truck, and you know those like big orange kind of metal buggies. If you've ever been to Costco, you get those like big orange kind of flat buggies that you can just load like a fuck ton of shit. You can load up
Oh yeah.
an entire pallet of like 360 pounds of mayonnaise onto it. There's a guy outside who was loading some shit off, with one of those buggies. And he left his little buggy alone for a second and started like rolling down the road. Ended up like bumping into this person's car. And the person immediately rolls down their window. They're like, "Hey, what the fuck, man?" And the guy comes up. He's like, "Hey, you know what? That was completely my bad. I'm sorry. I'll pay whatever you want for car repair." He instantaneously owned that situation, and he said,
Right.
He's like, "Yeah, that was my fault. I'm sorry. Like if there's like dent or a scratch in the car, I'll completely own up to it." And instantly that situation was diffused. Like I didn't exactly like walk right up to him and be like, "Hey, can I listen in on your conversation?" But I heard what they talked about, and I saw them talking afterwards, and there's no sort of like, "I'm gonna get out of my car and kick your ass" kind of thing, despite the fact that the owner of the car was clearly in that mindset when this altercation first happened. So
Oh yeah, and that's pretty much what happened here. Like I was just like, dude, that was me. I accept full responsibility. I was like, I will pay you.
Yeah.
Like all the repairs for this.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I just want to make sure I run through the right channels and all that. So at this point, Cobb said it was cool. And he was like, yeah, man, that works for me. And I was like, cool. And about that point, I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just go ahead and ask. I was like, I'm not incriminating this person. But, so, I mean, we don't know his name or whatever. But I was like, do you smoke? And he's like, do what? I was like, do you smoke? And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, I don't have any on me or anything, but I can give you some, dude, for your troubles. He's like, tonight? I was like, well, if you want, I live right down the road. You can just follow me.
There's the sunshine.
Right?
There's the sunshine.
Yeah, as soon as he said, yeah, as soon as he said, yeah, I was like, oh, all's forgiven.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the magic here. All is forgiven.
Yeah.
And,
Equalizer.
exactly. And I was like, yeah, dude, you could just follow us. He's like, oh, you live right down there? And he was like, I live like right over here. I was like, oh, no shit. He was like, yeah, dude, I just came for some fucking pork rinds. And fucking that's what ended up happening. He followed us, and like I gave him a little bit and packed a fat bowl, and we fucking toked out. And he only had like 3 hits, and he was just like, God damn, man.
Yeah.
I don't get shit that good. Like, fucking hell. And like, we're just talking about shit, getting to know each other, and like it was weird making a friend over this situation.
Yeah,
like I fucked up his car. I fucking interfered with his life, like and it wasn't I ended up making a video about this because like right after he left. Yeah, and it's like a 15-minute video, but right after he left, like I was happy. Up into it was like, right on, man. Yeah, come over anytime. You just want to hang out, play video games, smoke some weed, like just fucking chill, dude, anytime you want to. And, I'm smiling, and then he leaves, and I just like immediately go to dread, and I just look at Haley, and I'm just like, I can't believe I fucked up that bad. And like, I cried, like, I seriously cried, like, for the next 5 minutes, like Haley had to just hold me, and I'm just like, I took that really bad because like it was because I didn't care.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't fucking care about my surroundings, and I just didn't give a shit.
Yep.
It was all about me, and it was all about my fucking needs.
Yep. Yeah, you kind of lost in that feeling of a fucking great show.
Euphoria.
And just kind of buzzed and drunk and just kind of completely consumed in your own perceptions.
Yeah, so like that's what caused it, because like if I would have been in any other situation, I would have caught that,
right?
Because I would have been aware,
right? And
I'm processing all of this shit, and I'm comparing it with all of the shit that we went through with this couple.
Right.
See, here's where it all ties together, kids.
The segue. There we go.
Here's where it all. See, there's a purpose. There's a reason. But she, would tell me that negativity brings negative things into this world, and that's all it's there for, and that's all it does. And this just kind of made me think about it, and it was just like, no, I reject that. Here's my replacement.
Right.
Apathy is what brings negative things into this world. That's what causes the chain reaction of all this negative shit fucking happening. And you have to fucking catch yourself or you're in deep shit. If I didn't catch myself in that situation, he would have stayed mad.
Yeah.
He would have fucking, he probably would have gotten physical about it.
Yeah.
And, objectively speaking, if I would have fucking, escalated that, who could blame him,
Yep.
So, like, he just had to respond accordingly. And that's why, just immediately, I was just like, nope.
Those are interesting words. He had to respond accordingly. Because you were the one in charge of how he responded accordingly to the attitude you were giving off.
Well, there's a thing, like, I consider myself to be, like, you've got active people and you've got reactive people, and I consider myself to be very much a reactive person. As a comedian, I have to be reactive. A joke is a reaction to something that's happened to me.
Yep.
So, like, I'm a reactive person. So, like, as soon as I fucking dealt with this situation, I had to figure out my reaction to it, and my reaction to it was, oh, I need to start giving a fuck. Like, holy shit, look what I did. Like, that's terrible. So I just had to be like, nope, that's me. Like, that was all me. I take full responsibility. I will do whatever you need. Like, I am at your mercy.
That's called owning your shit.
Yeah, that's all I had to
don't do, because we have this strange kind of thing called ego built up, where it's like, what? You're reacting in some angry way towards something I did? Well, you're half the problem too, and I don't want to admit to myself that I was part of the problem because I don't want to grow because that's scary and awkward to me. So fuck you, you asshole. Let's all shout at each other and
And people don't want to own up to the bad things about themselves. Like, it's like when people say don't judge me. It's like when people say don't judge me. I laugh when people say that, because my first natural reaction to that is don't judge my fucking judgment. Like, why are you judging my judgment?
Yeah.
You see, we're now in a chain. We're now in an infinite loop.
Yeah.
So logically, this is completely pointless. But fucking
hold on. Keep it a thought. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick because I got to take a crazy piss.
All right.
So continue this. We will collect our minds and then regurgitate them upon the internet. Be right back.
So I guess it's just me right now. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to nobody, really, because he went on a bathroom break. Oh. You can keep rubbing my shoulders, though. That was nice. I just want to sit here and tell Johnny that I'm having my shoulders rubbed by a woman right now. And he isn't. A woman's hands are on my shoulders, and his hands are on his cock. I heard him laugh in the bathroom. Oh, Jesus. I think I got too fucking high for this. I think that's what happened.
I was in there fucking pissing. I'm like, where is this going? Where the fuck is this going?
I never know where it goes, man. I just fucking drive and take turns when necessary.
Yeah, no, that's just that's kind of my philosophy in life these days. It's like, shit is gonna constantly happen to you. It's not so much whether or not you're gonna build some giant castle for yourself. It's just how good are you at building bricks out of sand? Like.
But
that was a terrible drunken analogy, but yeah. I was going somewhere with it in my mind. I was picturing all these things, and then that's what you guys got. So you can all go to hell for all I care.
But like the whole "don't judge me" thing.
Yeah.
People have no problems accepting the positive judgments. Like they'll accept those for days. Like, yes, please judge me in a positive light. Like, I will definitely take that. Well, but not in a negative light.
Here's my issue with the whole the kind of phrase like "don't judge me." There's a certain movement within our modern culture that I see within various different sects, and I won't name those sects specifically. I'm sure you'll be able to figure that out for yourselves, but there's a sort of movement that wants absolution of personal responsibility, and like I said, this takes place in various different sects and followings and leanings and activist groups and whatnot.
Oh
But
yeah.
absolution of personal responsibility, where it's like people say to themselves, like, the reason my life is bad is because of the world, is because of the things around me.
Right.
I can do nothing to change these things. Like my life is bad is because I'm being oppressed, I'm being harassed, I'm being victimized.
Right.
And I'm not gonna sit here for a second and say that that doesn't go on. That would be stupid and naive and easily proven wrong to say that, like, oh yeah, well, for fuck, I'm drunk. For me to try to say that, like, people don't get abused and oppressed. That'd be an incorrect statement. But what I see is a movement towards absolution of personal responsibility, where um, for some people, for their life to be perfect, everyone around them has to make a change in their lifestyle. Where
Yeah.
to them, they are living in the exact right way, and the reason that that isn't working for them is because of the way everyone else around them is acting. And they need to be activists, and they need to campaign for people to change how they think and how they act in order for them to feel better about themselves. And that will never work. That will never, ever work. Anyone listening, that is never going to work for you. Try it your entire life. It will never work, because you can't change how people act. You can't change how people respond or how people think. You can change how you yourself act and respond and how you think. That's it. That's it. And if you really want the people around you to think or act or respond in different ways, the only way you can impart that to people is by living it yourself. And
Yes, absolutely.
letting them decide whether or not they will watch your life and think, huh, well, I kind of like how that person is doing things. I kind of agree with them. Maybe I can take some of that and add to myself. That is the only way. You can never tell people do this or don't do that. That it's not how things work.
Well, to me, that's
incredible power to change their own lives. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh no, you're fine.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt. But no, to me, that's why I'm a comedian, is because it's the only thing that makes sense to how I am as a person. Like, if I were to turn myself into a cartoon character, if I were to actually like live out the extremes that I put out there, like, what would that be like? Like,
Right.
what would that really be like?
Right.
And would I be able to actually uphold these beliefs?
Yeah.
And you see it all the time, and even in comedy, even in stand-up. I mean, Larry the Cable Guy is not a real person. Like, Larry the Cable Guy is just as real as Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that simple. Like,
and they're both
he's a
funny,
character.
but they're not.
Oh no, yeah,
they're
yeah.
characters.
He's a character. His name's Dan Whitney. He's that's the real person. But Larry the Cable Guy is a character. There's a local dude here. He's one of my favorites. Waylon Whiskey is his stage name. That's obviously not his real name.
Really?
Yeah, he got really lucky.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say his parents named him really well, but
but no, that's not his name. That's kind of like his that's his portal, his window. That's how he
kind of like Johnny Old School.
There you go. And Doug's a nostalgia critic and all of this. Like, everybody has their own ego, their own alter ego, their own
their own version of their personality dialed up to 11.
Yeah, like, I'm a big Thompson fan, so like I refer to it like there's Hunter S. Thompson and there's Raoul Duke,
Yeah.
There's Sam Donnelly and there's Edward Bisley, and that's kind of like my extreme alter ego. And over the past years, I've actually been like messing around with that sense of duality a lot, and just
It's
that.
fun.
Oh yeah. Oh,
it's part of the reason why I keep my online life completely separate from my offline life, and why I really hate them to mix together, because I like the ability to be different people. Not so much like, how do I put this? It's not that I want to be somebody who isn't me. It's not that at all. It's that I want different avenues of exploring who I am through our new modern media, through the internet and whatnot. I can say things and be things online differently in a way that I can be an offline life. And when those worlds mix together in the way that I've separated them, they won't necessarily understand each other. And I'm getting a call right now from Gabrielle Gosling, who's in China right now. So I'm not going to answer this. I'm just going to send her a message right now and say that I'm in the middle of a podcast. But, if she listens to this, oh Gabby, how I love you. What a wonderful person you are, and I'm so excited for you on this journey that you are on. Give me a second here, Sam. I just gotta.
Oh, you're fine.
1 second. I'm loading up my fucking Skype thing here. I'm in the middle of a podcast right now. But I love you, and so does Sam Donnelly, despite the fact that he has no idea who you are. But I'm speaking on behalf of him because he can't do shit about it.
It's true.
And sent.
It's very true. That is a true statement.
All right. What the fuck was I just saying?
You're talking about dragons.
Dragons.
Yeah, you're talking about fiery dragons with wings.
Dragons. Do you think dragons actually ever existed? Because I think
maybe
they did.
I think they did.
Yeah. Maybe they're like some sort of like symbolic metaphor about like ancient beings, or some sort of like maybe some sort of like way that people act, like maybe like a dragon is some sort of like personality trait, or maybe it's like some sort of like, you know, like horrific beast who can like conquer all men and then breathe fire on them and burn them and whatnot. Or maybe it was like an actual creature that existed one day. Maybe they're actually like giant reptiles who actually have the ability to breathe some sort of like burning breath. Maybe it was like acid spray. Maybe it wasn't just, you know, actual flames. Maybe it was something that, you know, burnt the skin of people, so they depicted it as fire.
I'm way too fucking high for this.
Yeah. I don't think you're high enough for it. I don't think you're fucking high enough for it.
Oh, that sounds like a challenge.
Fuck.
But
What though? Christ. God damn it, Gabby. You sack of shit. We're not friends anymore. You fucking China traveling asshole. You fucking busted on my podcast by innocently calling me on Skype, even though I said you can call me any fucking time you want.
Right.
Now I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk now.
We were talking about the characters, and I was actually going, hey, we're back on track. Holy fuck, we're back on track.
There.
It's a way of delegating, dude. Like, what you're doing and what everybody has always done is just like delegate certain aspects, certain attributes of their emotional wheel, if you will.
Yep.
To different. Think of them as like wedges in a Trivial Pursuit piece.
Mm.
Like, each wedge is like its own tiny little group of emotions that kind of fit a similar theme. You know, like, you know, Sam, like for me, is like, you know, he's the hopeful one. He's the one that sees the good in humanity. He's the one that knows that, you know, we're all fucking one, and, you know, we all come from the same source, and there's nothing we can do faith-wise or whatever to change that. It's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
And then, so he's like got the niceness. He's got the hopeful side. He's got all of that package. So that's like the blue wedge, you know, it's the happy blue wedge, the hopeful blue wedge, the third eye blue wedge, you know. And then you've got Zedward. And Zedward would be like the red wedge, your hate filled, your rage, resentfulness, I guess. He's that side. He's the yang to Sam's yin.
Yeah.
He doesn't see the same hope. He thinks we're all fucking doomed, you know. So like, and he thinks that's the way it should be.
Right.
You know, and it's because I see both sides of that, you know, grand argument.
Right.
But I've been just dealing with that for so long now, and my goal, if you will, is to take all of those wedges and meld them into one piece.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I really wanted to segue into that.
Like it's about my whole deal is about, and this came from my first mushroom trip because the
Dude,
like when
mushrooms?
people
What the fuck?
what
I have no idea.
on a pizza, dude.
What's that like?
On a pizza,
What's
dude.
that
It's just
like?
a pizza. It's just a pizza.
Is it
topping.
cool?
I'm just talking about pizza. There's
Oh,
nothing illegal going on here.
No,
as I'm pulling nuggets of marijuana
in Canada. You
out of a bag.
It's within your legal rights to pick mushrooms in a field and ingest them, and there's nothing illegal about that. They only become illegal in a Class 1 substance when they're dried and they can be transported. Don't ask me why I know this.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Nice. Hold on, I'm taking notes. Hold on, I'm taking notes.
Good, you should. Yeah.
Transport. Okay.
If you need exact coordinates to various fields at BC,
latitude and longitude.
I will
please
not be able to hook you up with any of those.
But like a lot of people ask me, what's it like, and I always tell them, when your first time, I climbed. And I all of a sudden felt every human emotion at the same time at its fullest maximum extent. So like I felt happiness, I felt sadness, I felt joy, I felt humor, I felt hate, I felt love, I felt all of this, fear, all of this all at once, and it was just overwhelming. And it gave me that feeling that I'd always been told about in good old Southern Baptist churches.
Yeah.
When Jesus comes into your heart, and I've been saved twice because the first time I was like 8, and then when I got older, I didn't feel that I had enough knowledge or like sincerity to do that. So when I was a teenager, I got saved again. Right. So like I used to be very much into that. I used to be
We have so much to talk about.
Oh yeah, and we're already like fucking over an hour into this one, but which is fine. Yeah, it's whatever.
My goal is roughly 2.5 hours, so.
Oh, fair enough. But what I felt on mushrooms was what I was told I was supposed to feel.
Yeah. When
God spoke to you, and that's when it all made sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is what I've been looking for. And now I'm pacing back and forth in my friend's basement going, this is what everyone's talking about. This is what everyone's looking for. This is God. I don't know what the fuck that is every Sunday. Yeah. This is what it fucking is. This is what I've been looking for. Meanwhile, my friend Calvin is laying on the bed going, it's only 1:30. It is only 1:30. It's been 1:30 for the past 15 minutes. It is only 1:30. and like
going, there are 5 lights.
Like it was intense, and like I try to take that with me. I try to take that importance of understanding the utility of every emotion, because the whole duality things, I used to be really split on that. That's why I separated Zedward into another being. That was my way of dealing with it. It's like, no, I'm really struggling like with myself here, because I see the good, but I see the bad as well. It's like I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
And only recently have I really been able to like just be like, well, we just need to learn to accept all emotion and realize its proper use and why it's a thing, because it's there for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I'm not like like one of my stupid little hashtags that I like to throw out there a lot is hashtag fuck fear.
Yeah.
And I don't like fear. No one likes fear.
It's a mind killer.
It is the mind killer.
Total obliteration.
But even with that, there has to be some kind of use for it. So I almost use it like a spidey sense in a way. That's kind of like almost a gut reaction type thing.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. If that's a problem, let's figure out why.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to like logically figure it out.
Yeah.
So like I use it as an alert. I use it as a sense. I try not to like continue fear like and let it control an action, Yep. I always try to look past it, but it's there for a reason. And a lot of times if I've been afraid of something, I've logically deduced it to be a situation that I shouldn't be in.
Yep.
So it's there for a reason. And life is a lot of ebb and flow. It's all about that. Like I mean, I dropped yin and yang earlier, but I'm very much a believer of that, and even have been since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like seeing the yin yang and reading up about what it means and all of that. And it's like, okay, yeah, there's good and bad, and there's a little bit of good and bad, and there's a little bit of bad and the good, and blah blah blah, and it's all necessary to keep the balance. And yes, but like the older you get and the more experiences you have, you actually start to apply that to more things, and you start to realize like how important that is on a grander scale.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of in my own personal philosophical process of figuring out life. That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done with splitting everything into personalities.
Yeah.
I need to, like, Sam is all of these things, and I need to figure out how to channel those energies to be the best Sam I can possibly be.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at now. So that does not mean I am any less angry than I was before. It just means that I might use it for a different thing.
That's interesting to me that you say that, because I've been wanting to, as I've been listening to you talking here, I've been wanting to try to bring something up, and I didn't quite know how to put into words. But when you say you want to channel, both the positive and negative into being the best person you can be, to me, if I picture those statements as an image in my head, it's an upward spiral. It's like a double helix, like an upward spiral where you have the negative and the positive, but you want to use both of them to be better.
It's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
No, I love the wording that you put that in, because I am a Nine Inch Nails fan, but it's not why I say it like this, but I see death as a downward spiral.
Really?
Yeah, and I say this because I've seen it.
Why would you see death as okay?
I say this because I've seen it, and I felt it, and like when I experienced that, like literally, like what I felt was like it was a thing that I had to let go.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, accept it, dude. If this happens, it happens.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And what it felt like was I was being pulled inward. You could say I was falling down.
Yeah.
But that's all perspective. It was really more of an inward, being sucked into the cyclone that was made of unanswered questions.
Not so much up or down, but closer to a middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I felt. And if that's what death is, then the life should almost be the inverse of that. So like when you say upward spiral, on a flat line, two-dimensional graph, it will have a very ebb and flow look to it, where you're going to have your fucking low points and you're going to have your high points that are going to come after that. Because you're going to learn something.
So you're traveling towards somewhere. You have the contrast between positive and negative, but your choices determine whether or not you are spiraling upward or spiraling downward. You always have the contrast of these, circular bodies, the light and dark, the black and white, the red and blue, the up, the down, we have this contrast in our world. Our entire world is based on this system where our planet turns around this giant ball of nuclear gas, where we see light and then dark and then light and then dark, and we have these changes in the season and all these cyclical patterns. This is how we are here. This is what we are. And and yet, what do we see in common? Despite this contrast of light and dark, we see everything growing upwards towards that source that half the time we have and half the time we don't. You go into nature and you see trees constantly growing upward. Half the day they don't have sunlight, the life-giving energy that they need to, like, literally need to, like, live and grow, and then the other half of the day they do. And all that while, they're still managing to grow upward, spiraling upward toward that source. And that's what I think. Fuck, there's so many goddamn places I could go with this.
Well, it's like working out. I mean, I'm using a lot of analogies of things that I'm doing lately, but like, you can't just keep fucking stressing your same muscles day in and day out. Like, you have to have a day of rest. You have to have a day where they can be like, all right, dude, leave me alone. I don't want to be fucking around with shit right now. I want to lay on the couch and watch fucking Friends for all fucking 8 hours.
Watch
Like,
Rachel pinching her nipples before every scene.
yeah, I don't watch Friends. My pecs do.
Well, you should. Yeah. Well, you know, parts of my body have also watched Friends.
But like, you know, it's like that. You have to. It's a balance, man. You have to have. You can't just be all gung ho about something. And I've always, you know, kind of been an anti-extremist, which is kind of funny considering people would argue that I live to the extreme in a lot of things.
Actually, yeah.
But I don't live to the extreme necessarily as much as I like just kind of testing my own limitations.
Right.
That's it's more about knowing myself. Like, I don't pay attention to the heart monitor at the gym or whatever. I pay attention to what my body is telling me.
Mm.
You know, like if I'm going too fast and my heart's beating too fast, guess what? I'm gonna fucking know it. You know, like, I mean, I'm gonna know it somehow. It may not be right then. It may not be right there. It may be the next day when I wake up and I go, ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that. Oh, and it's all about that awareness, man.
Yeah.
It's right back to the antithesis of apathy is awareness.
Yep.
And it's all about just knowing what is happening to you, and just any particular situation. And it's about keeping that balance.
Yep.
And so, like, everything in my life is all about balance, and that means that I have to accept the bad things and the good things. And in this particular relationship that I was trying to have with this woman, it was, and I say this without, it's gonna sound like I'm kind of downing this, but I'm not really, because it's just the way people are sometimes. She very much tries to cloak anything negative, and it's very much a fairy tale perspective of life. Everything should be happy. All the squirrels should be dancing, you know, in unison.
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone should feel like a fucking
they're
Disney princess.
Yeah.
You know, and I can appreciate that. That's why we have fairy tales. That's you know, that's, I mean, for real. Like,
I'm sure that's the perception that I'm sure a lot of people get. Some of my most, you know, recent online life, I seem to be almost overtly positive, and I can even see with some of my friends that almost seems to kind of irritate them sometimes.
Right.
But it's just that I've learned that you can actually make the choice to focus on the positive, and that choice isn't fake. Like, that's actually a real decision. Real things come from that. You can actually choose to focus on positive things and have that as like a basis in your life and build off of those. That doesn't mean that negative things don't exist. It means that you're essentially adjusting the focal lens of how you interpret reality. And you can create a new reality for yourself by choosing to, like, where you adjust your focus.
Right. And you are right, but sometimes the creation of that reality, and sometimes when I say that, it's not because of your own, like, perspective shift on positivity or anything like that. It's not. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but some people who choose to create their own realities do so very, like, you know.
Well, they're not creating a new reality; they're creating a fantasy sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Because like the thing with reality is you have to accept the fact that there is negativity, and the way that she took that is, so I just have to deal with things, and I'm like, it's not necessarily about dealing with them, like, oh, your leg's broken, deal with it. It's not necessarily like that. It's more about the preparation.
Yeah.
It's more about looking at a child saying, hey, you know, Sword in the Stone's a great movie, but that's never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Like, that you're not going to, you will never be a king. Like, you know, it's just, this is the facts. There's a lot of shit that's out there that's going to try to hurt you, and it's going to try to keep you from doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that is hidden a lot of the time when it comes to trying to build people up for the sake of that just being a negative thing. It's like, well, why do you have to ruin it? It's like, I'm not ruining it. I'm preparing this person.
Exactly. Yeah, you're laying the ground. It's like here's how things actually work. I want you to succeed. I really want you to succeed. And in order for that to happen, you need to understand that some of this shit is fucking bullshit.
Yes,
this is how
absolutely.
it fucking sucks. And if I don't tell you, if I don't tell it to you like straight up, if you don't understand that, if you don't have someone who's honest and loves you and will tell it to you straight up, you're gonna fucking fail because you'll get to a point where you're like, what? There's shit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't expect this. You know, you have to be fucking prepared for that. And that's not to say that there isn't like miles and miles ahead of everyone that are nothing but good things, but you have to be prepared for the shit. It will be there. Right. And it's not whether or not shit happens to you, it's what you fucking do with it. And this is a goddamn fucking lesson that life has been trying to teach to me, goddamn it, Sam Donnelly, for my entire fucking life, that I only recently fucking got. And I stared at my face for so fucking long. Like I got let go from my job recently. Like not this new one that I have, but I made this video of it, and it was fucking complete and utter bullshit situations. I don't have to get into it, but it was complete and utter bullshit fucking situations. Like it's like I put it this way: I'm going through the process of you know engaging with the various like labor relation boards who handle this sort of thing because I am 100% within my rights to do so, and that's why these things exist within Canada. Where if you actually get fucked over, the Canadian government basically has your back and it's like, oh well, you can't treat your employer like that. In any case, like you know,
that's new. Yeah, that's completely unfamiliar to me.
Okay, well, like, I got let go from my job for like 100% bullshit reasons.
No, I was saying the thing that's unfamiliar is your government actually having your back.
Yeah, well,
that I don't know.
You got to jump through a lot of hoops and you got to do your paperwork. But like for me, like here's the great thing in my situation. I don't have to lie about anything. I don't have to exaggerate about anything. All I have to do is say the straight up facts. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm well within my right to do so, and I'd be insane not to. But what the lesson that I finally fucking learned is that. Like, here's something that, like, fucked up my life. I've been behind in rent for, like, 6 months. Like, my landlord is super lenient. You know, she bitches and moans to the building owner and says, like, listen, he always eventually pays. He may not pay in time, but he always eventually pays. Like, listen, he makes this sort of money. He's not getting it on the exact first of the month, but, you know, he always eventually pays. So she's been going to bat for me, and I've been trying to get caught up. And I was working on getting caught up on my rent for, like, the last 6 fucking months. And finally, you know, I got to that point. I got to this 1 month, like January, where I had like that magical month where you get paid on the 1st, the 15th, and the 31st of the month. So it's almost like you get like a extra paycheck. And what would happen during that month? But I would get let go from my fucking job.
Of course.
And you know, me in the past would get like fucking cunty about that. Straight up fucking cunty about that. I would be bitching and fucking moaning. I'd be whining all over fucking Facebook. I'd be throwing a fucking fit. When I came home that day, after the bullshit reason of, and this is exactly what I was told, you're expected to work when you're sick. That was the exact sentence.
At food
service. Yes.
That
was the exact sentence I was given. I'm not making any of this up. I'm not embellishing. I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
But when I came home that day, I almost felt relieved. You know, like I started to realize that like the position I was in, I was given way too much responsibility for not enough pay or recognition. Not enough people were working with me, and I was like, I'm free from that. You know,
right?
And I thought to myself, like, I'm like, this is bad. Like, this is really bad. Because I don't know when I'm gonna find work again. You know, I had some leads. It's not like I don't know anyone in the city, and it's not like I don't have skill. But I'm like, this is not a good thing. I'm upset by this. Yeah, this is bullshit. I want to be angry about it. And for one of the first times in my life, my friend, I thought to myself, I wonder if I could actually be okay with this.
Here's the thing. Let me interject real quick because this is a great point. You know why you finally came to that?
Huh.
You know why you say things like younger me would have been really cunty about it, and now I'm not. You know why you're not?
Why?
Because you already have been. Because you've already gone through that stage where you're like, what the fuck, life?
Yeah.
Why are you fucking with me?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that's kind of like when you first get into comedy, you're very uplifted about it. You're like, hey, we're doing it. We're living the dream, guys. We're going to open mics and acting like it's a fucking show, you know, like, yay. And then like months down the line, you start to realize that, you know, you really don't matter. And your defense mechanism is to say, why the fuck doesn't anyone care about me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm fucking great. What the fuck?
Yep.
I deserve more than this.
Yep.
And that happens to every fucking comic, plain and simple. Every comic, I've seen it fucking, I've watched it happen for the past couple of years here in Knoxville. Like, so many new people come in, they're all excited and happy at first, and then the reality starts to set in.
Yep.
They get cunty about it, and then I have to tell them, I've done exactly what you're doing right now.
Yep.
The best thing you could do is just realize that it's not personal, and that like you just got to keep working and keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
And use this energy to help fuel that. If
we suffer because we think that we don't deserve to.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll put ourselves through our own little weird hell over the whole situation, and we'll make everything about us. Yep. And have no consideration for our surroundings. It's that apathy. And if you act on that, you'll learn really quick in your own fucking destructive way that that's not the way to fucking handle shit. And this is coming from the dude who in Knoxville is literally known as the guy that flies off the fucking handle on Facebook all the time. Like, I fucking tag people when I have a fucking point to make, and I call them out. Like,
I've seen that once or twice. Yeah.
3 times a lady.
3 times a lady.
It's a condition, man. Don't laugh at it, okay? There's no fucking cure. I can't help it. But
I was gonna say that you know, like when all this shit went down and whatnot, like I kind of like asked myself, I'm like, can I actually be okay with this? I'm like I without getting too much into my personal life or my personal understanding of, you know, life, the universe, and meaning of everything, which we all know to be 42 from Douglas Adams. But fiction aside, you know, I myself, like, can I not take like all the things that I understand about this world and be okay with what's happening? And I thought, like, well, you know, like I would like some time to relax. I would like some time to pursue some creativity. I started, you know, painting in that time. I painted some of the most beautiful pieces of artwork I've ever come up with in my entire life. I didn't even know I had that in me.
Right.
And I eventually found a fantastic job that I love completely. And I mean, my financial situation, if I'm honest, is still pretty fucked. But,
right.
But I've kind of let go of that because during that time, during my meditations and whatnot, I realized like what it is that I actually really want to do with my life, and that is to basically, for lack of better terms, because I haven't ever actually tried to put this into words before, encourage people, raise people's vibration, do things that, I guess, just say something to somebody where after we've spoken, they feel a little bit better, and to do that all the time. And I think that's an important job to do. And the thing is, I can do that anywhere. It doesn't matter if I have a roof over my house, roof over my head. It doesn't matter if I'm employed. It doesn't matter if I'm comfortable or not. I always have the ability to do that. And once I kind of realize that about myself, I'm like, well, I guess really nothing else matters, because if that's actually the thing that's most important to me, then I can just kind of always do that. And I don't know, since I kind of like gave up that care, that desperate worry about like what's gonna happen to me, am I gonna lose my apartment, am I gonna have a job, once I gave that up, so many things came together to me that I just I'm kind of like trailing off here because my mind is going off in a million fucking different places. But
well, I mean,
my main point of that is just that like we don't need to worry nearly as much as we think we do. And worrying about things, it's usually because we're attached to things that don't really matter. They're frivolous. I mean, anything you buy with money can be stolen. You know, like it makes more sense to me to build up experiences and relationships that will be there regardless of whether or not your house burns down or you're locked in prison your whole life. You know, there's certain things that can never be taken from you ever. And I tend to think those things, you know, depending on what you believe, I tend to think that those things might be taken with you after you leave this planet, after you leave your mortal coil. I tend to think that important experiences, might be taken with you onto, you know, whatever we have waiting for us. Whereas my apartment, my video camera, my Pog collection. That will all be long gone after I shed my mortal coil.
Right.
The lessons I've learned in this life, the friendships I've built up, the things I've learned about how to love people, how to
all the shit in your mind, you know.
Yeah,
your heart and your soul.
I think that sticks.
Well, I mean, it definitely doesn't hurt. I mean, that's one of those.
Yeah.
That's the
if you
thing.
don't take it along with you, it definitely doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's just like it. Yeah, but you're talking about a point that you were making. Talk about like wanting to like kind of bring that positivity into people's lives and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a fine line with it. I find because like I have a few friends on Facebook. They kind of get a little too extreme with their positivity. Like they're the kind of people that will just walk up to strangers and just tell them that they're beautiful, you know?
They get a little silly with it, a little naive with it.
Yeah, and it's like, I
gotta start somewhere, right?
Well, it's like, you're and I guess you do have to start somewhere, but like these people have been doing this for like, a couple of years now, and like it's that they haven't understood that nothing's really changed because of it, and like they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like you're and I call this I call it Tumblr culture.
Yeah.
It's just this idea of like I saw this webcomic where it's like this dad and his son. They're walking down the street and they're standing next to this dude who has like I guess an exaggerated top hat, and the dad says, "Hey son, do you see that man with the goofy looking hat right over there?" And the kid was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Watch this." And he's like, "Hey man, you're awesome, and you're awesome, or your hat is awesome, and you're awesome for wearing it." And he looks at the kid. He's like, "Now, do you see that smile on his face?" It's one of those things. And it's like, I get that. Like, you've totally brightened that dude's day, but it's all based on a fucking lie.
Yeah.
You already admitted to your little shit of a son that it was a goofy fucking hat.
Yeah.
You've already let that out of the cage, and now you're lying to this stranger.
That's where this whole balance comes in, because if you do something that on the surface is a good thing to do, but in your heart you're counterbalancing that by, like, let's say you see somebody with a funny hat and you think to yourself, "Wow, that hat looks fucking retarded," but I'm a good person, so I'm gonna say it looks awesome. Hey,
right.
Sir, your hat looks great.
It's like, you're better off just fucking acting like it's not there.
Yeah, even if that person smiles at that insincerity, it travels through some sort of like underlying cosmic vibration. Like for lack of a better term, God will not be mocked.
Right.
You can't trick the universe into thinking that you are doing good deeds.
Well, like, now this dude may think that his hat is like the most awesome hat in the world, and like if anyone like says something to slight that, he'll like turn into like a supervillain. Yeah. And he's Hat Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you've boosted this person's ego for no fucking reason at all. Actually, no, there was a fucking reason. The reason is because you realized that it was out of place and it didn't belong, and you fucking tried. You said, "Fuck it. That I don't care if that puzzle piece doesn't fit here. I'm going to jam it into place."
Yeah.
Like that's what you did, and it's like reverse trolling.
Yeah.
Like that's really what it is. And I mean, yeah,
it's essentially exploitation.
Yeah, in a way it is. It really is, because like it's just, you can't, if you're going to like try to be positive, then how do you think a lie is going to be a proper seed for that? That doesn't make sense to me.
That's exactly it. That is exactly it. You plant a seed that's a lie that you expect to grow into a tree of positivity. It's not gonna. Maybe it can look like a tree of positivity. Maybe everyone can eat its fruit, think it's a tree of positivity. Maybe everyone can like digest the fruit and be like, "Oh, this feels so good." But the results of it, the nutrients that absorb into your body, the way it changes your chemical makeup, it's gonna be based on that original lie.
Oh yeah, like I'm not sure if you're familiar with Maddox and the Best Page in the Universe.
Yes, I am.
Okay, I was hoping you would be. It's I guess it's kind of an antiquated thing at this point, but it's still active and he's still like pretty relevant with shit. Just recently we had that on 4chan, the picture of the fat guy dancing and then he was all sad. And Maddox just recently wrote an article on his blog about it, and he just busted the whole fucking thing of well-meaning idiots, I think, is or something along those lines.
Yeah, I saw it.
And I'm just like, God, you fucking nailed it. Like,
Yeah.
just you don't really care about what this person really feels. You do not care because you are now overcrowding this person, and you're not even reading the situation.
Yeah.
You're just taking everything for face value. Like somebody
Yeah.
said, look at this, and it's like, well, why does everybody have jackets, and why is there a movie poster here and stuff like that?
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, and like for me, Maddox, like I don't necessarily like him that much because
he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole. Nothing he does is centered around positivity and like actual like positive growth. But despite all that, he's a genius. Like he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Well, to me,
like, the way he writes is entertaining and thoughtful, and
right.
It hits points. But it's just the result I see from it isn't. It's let me put it this way: it's not beneficial to everyone.
The delivery
beneficial, yeah. The delivery is beneficial to a certain group of people who will read it, but it's not like, fuck. I guess I know
what you're saying.
Yeah,
no, he's going for a very niche asshole dude, male dominated.
Yeah, and those people who read it will be like, yeah, fucking right on, and but.
And in that sense, at the very least, he's giving these meatheads, for lack of better terms, pretty good arguments.
Yeah.
At the very least. And that to me is the positive thing that comes from it. If we're going to try to take, because I know what you're saying about the delivery and all that. And I've had to learn that the hard way myself.
Yeah.
It's hard to berate the audience that you're trying to get on your side.
Yeah.
But, but when that message is there and you have to convey it in some way. And that's the thing is like, you're in this instance, you're literally yelling at somebody for being nice. It's like, what kind of idiot would do that? Like, it's such a beautiful situation to be one of these overly positive, well-meaning idiots, as Maddox put it, because it just sets you up. You're like, no, I'm the good guy. I'm the good
everything
person.
Comes down to love, though, man. Everything comes down to love, because, like, let's say I saw a fat guy dancing in a club, and I thought he was honestly embarrassing himself. I could take pictures of him and post on Facebook in an attempt to be like, oh yeah, maybe he'll see this and he'll realize, he's a fat ass and he shouldn't be embarrassing himself. Or maybe I could pull him aside and be like, listen, man, like, I know you're enjoying yourself right now, but like, there's a lot of people laughing at you, and like, that's fucking shit. And I wanted to bring that up to you, like. And even
then though, like, he may even look at you and be like, you think I'm fucking stupid? Like, I go into clubs all the time. I know people fucking laugh. I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna dance.
Yeah, if he does, I'd be like, fucking fantastic.
And the point that Maddox was making is you're making this assumption about this person that that they need saving.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like the social media argument, right? Where you see two pictures. You see some guy happy dancing and then some guy sad, and all of a sudden it's the knee-jerk reaction, right?
Yep.
This actually brings me on to a video that I was going to make maybe in the next few days about bullying. Because we all hate bullying, right? We all hate bullying.
Oh, dude, I was bullied so much.
Remember the Zangief kid? Remember that like skinny kid who was bullying that like slightly stockier kid,
and he just like rock bottoms his ass or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we all watched that. That went viral. We're like, oh yeah, fuck that stupid fucking skinny ass bully. Fuck that guy. Well, as it turns out, that skinny kid got bullied so bad as a result of that video. He got out of school and he gave like a tearful fucking interview to, I don't know, fucking ABC or 60 Minutes or some shit like that, where like his life got completely fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like, he's a fucking child. Yeah, like what child hasn't like treated another child like shit and then gotten body slammed? And like, it's almost like we live in this culture where it's like, fuck bullies. Yeah, I'm gonna bully them. Fuck, that's what they deserve. And then you instantly become the bully. And I'm gonna be making a video about that soon, because that is not okay. That is not okay. Like you see one person treating another person like shit. Yes, we should recognize the fact that, hey, look, that person should not be doing that. And should we treat that person, the perpetrator, like shit as a response to that? That's when we become the fucking bully. That's when we become them. That's when we become worse than them, because we have this giant collective behind them. We fucking destroy that person. If anything, we should be looking at that person and be thinking to ourselves, why the fuck would they treat somebody like that? What has happened in their lives that would lead them up to doing like something
I
like
have
that?
a theory.
You know?
I have a theory. Like you always hear that every story, like with movies and books and
Yeah.
music and all that, it's all been done. Like every story's already been told.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said in that, especially with the wake of like social media and all of that, where we're all like literally connected. This is the closest thing to telekinesis we've ever fucking been, and
Yeah.
probably will be for a while.
Yep.
But
will see
literally,
about
it's
that.
our thoughts. It's that the Facebook tweets, like just all of these things are just literally our thoughts that we're just throwing out into the ether, and yeah, they're going to fucking run into each other because they're unadulterated. Like they're literally just like, I just got cut off on the fucking highway. I'm gonna tweet about this really quick, and then write stories about them. Like I was talking about earlier. Like that's what we do now. We recognize subconsciously that all of the stories have already been told, so now we are the stories, and we treat that as such. So like when we watch a viral video of a kid getting bullied and then that kid responding in a very brutal fashion, and we cheer, and then that story is over. You open the book at the start, you close the book at the end. The story has a definite start, it has a definite finish. We don't think about the fact that these characters are still breathing.
Yeah.
We don't think about the fact that we treat them as characters. We treat them as it's a television show. So like we'll root for the underdog, and we'll be like, fuck the bad guy, like that, because that's how we've been programming ourselves to think with entertainment like stories.
The bad guy got fucked.
Now, the importance of having that red versus blue atmosphere and the importance of having these stories is that the whole reason is to figure out life. It's to say, okay, here's a nice extreme situation. Now, what can we learn and what can we apply to our lives to make our lives better? Every story it's like a fable, there's a meaning, there's a message to every story. Period. So like, and we treat viral videos and everything like that, social media, we treat it all the same. And we think that everything has a definite beginning and a definite ending, and that's how we treat it. It's like, the woman that I was seeing there for a while, she would nitpick all the negative shit, but she would ignore every positive post that I made. Like, but because the more negative story drew her attention more, and that negative story had a very positive ending or positive beginning, which was the first letter of that post, and it had a very definite ending, which was the punctuation mark at the end of it. So that story is contained now, and she can now nitpick that story rather than comparing that to the entire life that I've created.
That's written into stone as opposed to a story that's alive and still breathing.
Exactly. So like, we as people we're our own characters and our own fucking stories, and we all fit into all the different archetypes that we've fucking created for ourselves too. I know where I stand on the fucking lawful good chaotic evil scale. I know where I am, and that takes a certain level of self-awareness to be able to truly figure that out and kind of game that to a certain degree. Like I am that person that can kind of say certain things and quote unquote get away with it. Like and I know that I can do that, so I use that as much as possible.
But that's the tool that you've cultivated.
And that's what I do. And yeah, I know people aren't gonna like that. That's kind of the point. Some people aren't gonna like that, but the people that do are gonna take something from that, and they're gonna realize that, hey, I can do that same thing. So like, and that's just one little part of me. But because we treat everything like stories now, and we're so bored with fucking everything, we're so bored with everything that we're just remaking it again. Like that's how bored we are with shit. Like, and I'm speaking on a very general, universal level here. We as a species are so bored with life and everything that we're just fucking redoing it. Like that's what it comes down to, man. and we've done it all. So we're just fucking redoing it.
I would say though that we're so bored
now,
with life and that we're redoing it, but at the same time, I've seen incredible new things happen.
That's the rejection.
Yeah,
like that's the great thing.
Exactly.
That's the ebb and flow, man.
Yeah.
Like you're always gonna have that
upward spiral.
And right now in comedy, like you have a lot, like it's been kind of riding a nice like PC positivity wave for a few years now. It's been riding this nice little wave because, like I said earlier about it, like I grew up listening to Carlin and Hicks and shit, so I'm like looking at these people as like shepherds of fucking harshness and truth, and now we're not necessarily experiencing that. Give it a year and a half. And here's why I say that. Give it about a year and a half, and we're going to see that wave shift over to the more honest side because people are starting to reject that cleanliness of comedy. And it's going to get worse because just recently, Comedy Dynamics, which is a comedy record label, they just got the rights to Bill Hicks's entire discography, and they're going to start re-releasing it. So, like, his shit's going to spread on an even more massive scale than it ever did before. So, I mean, we're going to, his CDs are going to be in stores again on a regular basis. They're going to be on, like, Spotify more than likely and, like, whatever other streaming service that kids can fucking listen to. Yeah. Those kids are going to fucking be just like me in high school listening to Carlin records. And then, like, they're going to be figuring out life, and they're going to start rejecting that cleanliness all over again. So give it a fucking year, man, and like that will be back. That real, that warts and all comedy. That I have something to say, and I'm gonna make you laugh at how full of shit that we are. That will be back on a grander scale. Just because, like you said, when you see something working, it's like, hey, let's do more of that. And that's how these waves are started.
Yep.
And people are gonna listen to Bill Hicks more and more now here in the next several months, and they're gonna be like, "No, I want more of that. That's what I want more of." And the thing is like,
it's raw and real.
Yeah, because they're not getting any of that right now.
That's exactly it.
So they're gonna
say early in the podcast, a lot of comedians are modern day prophets because they have, what's the word I'm looking for? They have the soapbox to stand on where they can say anything. They can say things that people want. They can say things that people will pay to hear. They can sit and pay like $100 for a ticket and hear people say things that if they were to hear on like Twitter or Facebook, be like, that guy's a fucking racist. But as they're watching this man talk, or woman, without wanting to be sexist, but let's just face it, like a lot of modern comedians are men. Regardless, that's the issue here and there.
We could actually talk about that in a different podcast because that's an interesting issue.
Yeah, it is. But they can watch, they can watch somebody on stage say things that could be interpreted as being like racist and sexist if they saw them over Twitter or Facebook. But because they've been having this sort of kind of interaction with this person, this real human interaction, their audience and performer, they can see this person's body language. They can hear their intonation of their voice. They have the way they lead up to these jokes. They have that kind of assurance that like this person isn't actually a douchebag. This person is saying things that I agree with, and that's why I'm laughing at them.
Right.
They're able to articulate me in a way that I haven't been able to before.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people pay to see, the big name stand-up comedians like Bill Burr and people like that. Like they can be fucking assholes and say these horrible things.
Louis C.K.
Like, yeah, Louis C.K. Exactly. Yeah, fucking Louis C.K. He can say shit that's what is it like? Of course, slavery is horrible. Of course, slavery is the worst thing in the world. But maybe all of humankind's greatest accomplishments have already happened because of it. Yeah.
Right.
Which again, like I could completely argue, but I see the comedic aspect. It's like, oh, you're like, oh, of course slavery is horrible, but you know the pyramid, and then I could go off on some crazy tangent about how the pyramids weren't built by slaves, but it's fucking funny, right? We all understand what he means. He's not a fucking racist. He's not some white supremacist who wants to own black slaves. He's a fucking comedian. He's pointing out things that we all kind of understand. He's verbalizing them in a way that we all appreciate.
Right.
And with that, I need to take a piss really bad.
Fair enough.
I'll be back.
So I guess it's just us again. I no longer have the woman rubbing my shoulders. In fact, she stopped after right before Johnny pissed the last time, right before he finished. I don't know where she is right now. Maybe she went over to Johnny's place. Maybe Johnny's in the back. Maybe that's code. Johnny's my wife over there. I hear her laughing too. God damn, how'd she get to Canada so quick?
Yeah, man, you don't gotta worry. She's not fucking over here.
Oh, fuck. She's on the couch the entire time. Shit. Hey, babe. How you doing?
Christ.
She reading.
I think the podcast is getting close to being wrapped up, but I still want to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of like bring things back full circle to your whole car accident experience, because I watched this video that you made, right?
Yeah.
That really stuck out to me, dude, because I hope people are still listening at this point of the podcast, because I really wanted to get into this. I've watched tons of your fucking shit. I've watched tons of your fucking shit. I've talked to you. You know, I've known you the best I can over our weird sort of new internet means of communicating with other fucking human beings on this crazy fucking world. And I'd never really seen you make a video quite like that before. You know what I mean? Like, that was something, like, new?
The closest thing to that I had made was there's a video, and this has actually like touched people like in places that I'd at once never been to.
Right.
But I had made videos like calling out certain shit that would happen in the comedy scene. And I would talk about how like it's not a comedian's job to tell another comedian that they suck.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, you've seen those where I'm on like my back porch with my iPhone or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those have actually like affected, like bookers have watched like that specific one, and they were like, dude, that has changed the way that I book. Like,
really?
Because that made like fucking, I did a video on him. Fucking Columbia, South Carolina. Fucking John. He's one of the first one that said, he was like, that made me realize that, you know, there is an audience for everybody out there. So like, if there's a video that I watch that I'm like, I don't really know, I'll bring it into the bar and show a regular that I think might like it. And if they like the person, I'll book them and give it a shot.
Damn.
And I was like, wow, I didn't think that video would even have this reach, much less have this impact. So thank you. Thank you very much. So, but that's about the closest thing is like, but those have been more like outward, I guess, expressive videos, where this one was more of an inward thing. Like it was one of those things that happens to like everybody, where they're just like, oh my God, I just figured something out and I need to like let people know.
Exactly.
And like, we're all too lazy and we never actually do it. Like, that's the funny thing is like, we're all really too lazy and we actually never really do it. And, like, there's been tons of things where I've been like, oh my God, I need to make a video about this. And I'm just never do it. Yeah. And here I am sitting with the fucking, like, now it's a goddamn Samsung Galaxy Note 4.
Yeah, man.
A fucking phablet, I think is the word that the kids are using now.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm holding this thing. Let's just fucking lay it down. Who cares about editing and shit like that? Just fucking do it.
I really liked it, man, because like what really stuck out to me is like, you know, how you go on about like, you know, this situation where you're like, you know, I had just absence of care. I just, you know, didn't give a fuck that, you know, this is what brought negativity in the world. And then
it was the apathy that brings
the apathy. That's the word, the apathy that brought in negativity. And then the second that you actually started caring, you fucking own that shit, and you turned like a fucking car accident into like a fairly friendly situation where you actually had somebody over to your house. Like,
Yeah,
you
like
actually brought somebody into your living space, you know?
Yeah, and this person called me during this podcast, so like and we discussed it, like it's $450 is all I gotta pay, pretty much. So like, you know,
that's huge. That is a huge fucking thing. Where it's like, you know, like it's not about us like being against each other. It's not about like, oh, you think I fucked your shit up? Well, you fucked my shit up, or like,
right,
me to fuck your shit up. How dare you be mad at me? Like it's. Fuck, I'm too drunk to find the goddamn proper.
Well, it's because we both know too many people in that situation to be like, oh, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
Like that's what
But
makes
at the
us
same
so
time,
fucking emotional about
it. You could have reacted that way, you know, and a lot of people have. You
well,
own the situation. You basically, what I got from it was that you, for whatever reasons and whatever circumstances and whatever personalities involved, you were able to take a situation that is shit and turn it into having somebody over to your house.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like getting to know each other and shit.
Exactly.
Hanging out and smiling.
Yeah, that's fucking, hanging out and smiling. That's fucking huge, man. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, like he's literally sitting there. I put a fresh dent into his girlfriend's car, and he's sitting in my living room, high as fucking giraffe pussy.
Yeah.
As J.C. Ratliff would put it.
Yeah.
And fucking just, you know, laughing and having a good time about everything, and knowing, having the faith and the hope that I will make things right for him.
It's because you owned your fucking shit.
Yeah,
I mean, your fucking shit. You did what had to be done.
And it's funny because you say that I could have reacted in another way, but the funny thing is because I live my life so open and so honestly and so brutally honest, for that matter, like, because I do that, because I don't have anything to hide, because I rely so much on fact and truth and all of that, I have to, like, in that instance, there was no other way for me to react. Like, that's how I processed it. Like from an outside, there was a lot of options that seemingly I had, but when it came down to it, I wasn't going to take any of them because that was my fuck up. Like, that's just all there was to it. So people,
you've been on that path for a while then, that led you up into that.
Oh, dude, I've been on that whole capital T truth kick for like fucking years now. So I mean, like, I've never been one to like really hide anything, just because like I don't feel like I have any reason to hide anything.
Right.
Like this is my set of experiences. That's what my life is. It's just a set of experiences, and that's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
Like I feel good about them all because of who I am now, and because I understand that this is all just trying to make me a better person. I'm just trying to figure all this shit out just like everybody else is. Right. I'm just doing it with more weed. That's all.
I'm just doing it with more weed.
That's all. Like, really, when you get down to the bottom line, I'm just doing, like, that's another reason why I'm a comic, is better access to weed. Fuck it, you know. Like, if I had a factory job, I couldn't have much access to weed. Comedy gives me a lot of really nice access to weed. Like, I get to go to places like Denver, Colorado, where it's legal.
You know, like, I really think, and this is something that my best friend said to me years ago, that someday we're gonna look back at the fact that weed was legal and be like, what the fuck was that?
Like alcohol, like we do alcohol now. Exactly. Even though sometimes I'll still look at alcohol and I'll be like, maybe that was a bad idea. But but honestly, like, if we were really going to talk about the legalization of drugs, like you posted about this the other day, and I fully agree with it. Fuck it, just make them all legal. Just tell the people what they do. Yeah, like that's all. I
was gonna say this to you earlier, and this may be, I don't know if listeners even want to like fucking hear this shit at this point in the podcast, but I was gonna say to you personally, Sam, I would love to have a podcast in the future, discussing like the actual effects of certain drugs. Like giving people actual legitimate education on what they do, the positives, the negatives, how to navigate them, like how to actually use these chemicals in a productive way. Because I truly 100% believe that there are ways to positively use these amazing tools that we have in front of us, and that they've been demonized and demonized and demonized for so many years in our school curriculum, where it's just, all drugs are horrible things that will ruin your life, and if we catch you with them, we're going to do horrible things to you and ruin your life. It's not working. We got to stop the fucking madness, and it's time somebody has to fucking educate people. Like, I might as well play a part of it. You might as well play a part of it. Somebody has to. It's not going to be. We're not going to see public school systems like giving courses on how to properly do LSD and how to have amazing, glowing experiences that will change their life for the better and show them how to love and appreciate and accept the people around them.
Did you say amazing? Did you say amazing bowling experiences on LSD? Because that would be awesome.
Amazing what?
Bowling.
Amazing bowling experiences. I didn't say that. I've never bowled on LSD before. However, I would not be opposed to that situation.
I need to now. I know you were monologuing about drugs, and coincidentally, I was hitting a bowl.
How dare you?
So
how dare you? How dare you hit a bowl while I'm monologuing about how we should hit bowls?
Dude, I'm for it. that's my saying it. I'm for it.
So it's at about like the 2.5 hour minute length of the podcast here. We should probably wrap things up, but I want to ask you one question before we wrap things up, and I'm welcome to have this question take as long as it needs to be answered. And maybe you don't even want to answer it in this podcast, maybe you do, but I would ask you, Mr. Sam Donnelly, if you could take a lesson from your life, if you could take something that you've learned, if you could take something that you understand about the world that you have for yourself, that has benefited you, that something that's brought you greatness, something that's changed your life for the better, if you could take one thing that you know and you could impart it to everyone in the world, if you could take one aspect of you, one thing that you understand, and give that to every single person in the entire world so that they know that, they acknowledge it, they understand it, they feel it, they live with it, they grow with it, what would that be? And you don't have to answer right now, but I want to submit that question to you.
I will answer this now, and I have two answers for you, and unfortunately they both kind of end the same way. It's one of those things that you're told your entire fucking life, and you're going to be told this no matter what, and it never sinks in until you're actually out of the situation. It's kind of like when you tell a child, like, don't put your hands on the furnace, you're going to burn your hands. And the child's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and does it anyway. And then they're at the hospital. That's what you meant. Yeah. So, like, it's an experience thing. It's not so much, that's the problem with imparting wisdom, is that it's always an experience thing in the end. They're not going to know until they actually reach that rung on the ladder.
And they're not going to learn unless you treat it with compassion afterwards, where
exactly.
You give them a hug and you're like, I told you not to do this. Have you learned now? Like, I still love you. Like, that was an idiotic thing. But, like, if you're like, fuck you stupid fucking kid, I told you not to do that fucking shit. Like, right. That's going to impart a huge amount of negativity in their lives. But if you... Right. Yeah. I've had that experience with many of my friends where they've been, going through issues with their girlfriend and whatnot. I'm like, dude, don't put up with the shit. Just fucking say this shit. Trust me, I've been there before. And they do the exact opposite. And they're going to do the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah.
And after it all falls apart, you still go to them and you're like, oh, I'm sorry that happened, man. And you still give them a fucking hug because that's the only goddamn fucking human decent thing to do, so.
But if I had two pieces of wisdom that I would try to impart on just whoever would be more than willing to listen.
Yeah.
The first one would be don't worry as much. Like just the whole concept of worrying. Just forget about it as much as possible. And once again, that's just one of those things that you hear and you're like, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna worry.
Yep.
And I worry about fucking everything. Like I seriously worry about everything. That's what runs half of my life. Is just me sitting here staring at the wall going, "Oh no." Yep. So so yeah, that would be the first one that I would tell the world that I really hope that they would take to heart, but I know deep down they won't. Is don't worry. The second, bring Crystal Pepsi back. It's fucking awesome. I don't give a shit what you say. You can call me a hipster all you fucking want. Crystal Pepsi was goddamn delicious. fucking bring it back. But once again, you just fucking tell people and they won't listen. They don't fucking listen. They're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Fucking, I'm gonna put my hands on the phone. No, fuck you. Crystal Pepsi is delicious. It's fucking amazing. And then they drink it. And then if we actually do give it a chance, and then we fucking bring it back, they're gonna drink it. They'll be like, oh my god, you're right. This shit is like the nectar of the gods. Like I fucking told you. I fucking told you. So don't worry. And fucking Crystal Pepsi.
Well played, Sam. Well played. The comedy gene runs deep in thy soul. Well,
nah, dude, thank you very much for having me, dude. I just, even if just 5 people fucking listen to this 2.5 hours, dude, it's fun. I love sitting here talking with you and shit.
Man.
And I will do many more, as many as you want.
Eventually, a lot of people will be listening. So, yeah.
Hey, it's
regardless, I gotta say one more thing though. When you
Yes.
say that you want people not to worry,
Yeah,
why?
but because
Why shouldn't
like,
they worry? Why shouldn't worrying be a part of our lives?
because well, it's kind of like one of those fear things. You should consider it an alert. Like, okay, shit's real now.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do to fix it?
Yeah.
Is the next step. And that's what worry, if you live in it, will fucking it's not going to do you any good. It's just keeping you from reaching that next step. So like, if all you're going to do is worry, it's just a useless function. Just use it as that alert. It's like fear in that regard. It just spidey sense.
Yeah.
Like fucking, like, recognize it for what it is, figure out the reason why it's there, why you feel fear or worry, and then be like, okay, well, how do we solve that? And if it's hard to do when you're in it, it's really fucking hard. Yeah. It's and that's why it's one of those things that you tell people and you're just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But if you beat yourself up enough over it, you're either gonna go callous to it or you're gonna start feeling the pain.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
You worry to the point where you end up sabotaging yourself. So.
Oh, and that happens fucking more times than not if you just live in the fucking worry. That's why I always like getting to the point. That's why I always like just saying fuck the bullshit. I'm just gonna like be honest and blunt, and just as much as I like to bloviate. Just because I like words, they're fun. Like, I just like words. It's people are like, you just like to hear yourself talk. I fucking hate my voice. Actually, I have a terrible fucking speaking voice.
Really?
It's well, like the people like I'm from Tennessee, and I used to have a very thick hick accent, and I've spent like most of my life trying to get rid of it. So now I just kind of have this like non-accent.
Yeah,
like,
it sounds like complete bullshit to me. Like, I hate talking to you. So.
Well, I mean, I get that. I got smoker's voice, It's like there's a roughness about it, and like, Jesus. But
oh, fuck that, dude. I love.
But yeah, like I mean, I don't like hearing myself talk. I just like words. But even then, like I just like to get to the point. Like I just just be honest. Paint the picture if you want, but fucking just be honest. That's what I think life should be about. If we were all fucking more honest with each other, then we wouldn't have fucking half a reason to fucking fight or worry, because there would be no apathy, because there'd only be honesty.
Kind of starts with being honest with yourself, right? So a lot of people
absolutely,
they're not
absolutely.
Themselves, so they can't be honest with other people. So
and honest is awareness. Yeah. Honesty is awareness, and that being honest about yourself is being self-aware, and it's knowing your alignment. Yeah. On the grand scale of things.
There's one single point where all of our interactions start, and that is within ourselves. And,
yeah.
The more that is in tune, the more that is aligned, the more that is balanced, the more balanced everything that we put our hands to will be.
And that whole Gandhi, be the change you want to see, but be realistic about it. Like don't be Bambi. We don't need Bambi. We need people. We need people.
Bambi.
Well, I mean, not in the sense that the mom died or anything, but just a nice, pretty fucking fantasy, colorful cartoon,
Right,
cute
yeah,
animals
yeah.
and shit. Like
You
that's what
don't
I
be, you
mean.
don't be frivolous and fluffy and just hope that like
Yeah, we don't.
happiness and goodness and sunshine is gonna change the world.
I don't.
'Cause,
Yeah, I don't need cartoons. I need people. And
yeah.
people are emotional.
Yeah.
And I that's all. That I just emotional content is what we need.
Yeah.
Sleaze said it.
Exactly.
People need emotional
What do you
content.
think I'm
It's
trying
important.
to do with podcasts like these?
There you go.
Emotional content, motherfuckers.
So with that, I give the microphone an NWO Bullet Club 2 Sweet hand gesture and knock it there because there's no visual here, but I still got to do it.
I'll accept that.
Skull Drivers, NWO, Scruffy City Comedy, Knoxville, Tennessee. Shout outs to Matt Ward, Chase Dyer, Jay Kendrick, and all those motherfuckers.
Love it.
That's just from me.
Rightly so.
I felt like we were on BET or something. Sorry.
Ew, BT, ew.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess with that, we will wrap up episode 2 of the Third Voice podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. I know for a fact that some of you have said that you have. And this is probably going to be going on for, I guess, as long as it needs to.
Hey, if you can't find a guest, just fucking drag me along. I'll be more than happy to talk about shit. And if you're still listening, and if you want to hear more, I can talk about my arcade heist. I could talk about the drug experience and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting
Yeah, I have.
stories I can talk about. So
things...
if you guys want me as a repeat guest, I'm totally down.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna be on here again. So yeah. Anyways, thank you, my friend Sam Donnelly, and thank you all for listening to the Third Wife podcast. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, bend over backwards so I can insert my penis into your butthole. You should probably sell your own mother into slavery to me so she can work in my LSD mines. And whatever sort of horrific, horrible, drunken horse thing I can possibly submit to you guys to make you laugh and make you think that maybe you would want to subscribe to this. Wow, you know what? I ruined it all. I'm fucking.
Yeah, you're really whoring yourself out here.
You know, I just want people to have sex with me, like anal, and I don't want it to be. I want it to be like abuse, right? Like I don't want to like it. I want to be like tied up. I want there to be sandpaper involved, and I want it to be painful. So that's all I'm trying to get out there with you guys. With like this whole channel, I want like broken glass, sandpaper, Tabasco sauce. I want those kinds of things to be going into my anus.
So basically, the third voice is the one that you can hear faintly in the background screaming from the basement.